Well, good morning, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Aloha from me out here
in Kauai still. Got about 5-6 more days out here. Man, what a day yesterday. And again, my children are sleeping in the next room. And before I introduce the crew, gentlemen, I'd say that deserves a guttural double scream. Why don't you guys gangbang that thing for me, and I'll just sit and listen.
Hold on. Do we guttural scream for a trade deadline before we know how everyone plays and everything? I mean, it was an exciting day, but are we tempting fate?
Well, never mind.
Okay.
I'm Steve Woods. That's fair.
I liked how the day went, but I think you're tempting fate before anyone's even put on a Padres uniform yet. Am I being too cautious about this? I don't know. I hate to jump full in until we actually see how the pieces look on the field together.
They said my audio is weird. Do I need to restart or something?
You sound fine. Yeah, 100% normal. Yeah.
Everyone in the chat saying it's weird. Sounds good on your end?
Yeah. You sound just like you've sounded all week. I mean, you
really
sound like you're in
Woods.
Hawaii, but
good now. Okay, there it is. That whole interaction just now was like if your mom walks in the room and you're playing with your wiener. That's what that was like for me. When I told you guys to yell, and Ben had to break it down and said no. So that's how that felt on my end. But I'm Woodsy. Paul Reindl's the executive producer of the program. Hi, Paul.
Aloha.
Aloha to you. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us.
Not so friendly. I guess I feel like if we haven't learned our lesson that you don't always know what you've got until you see it. I mean, I would have assumed in 2022 that the Padres were going to cruise to a World Series title.
Hang on. Are we really starting? This is how we're starting today. Skeptical and questioning. And
Absolutely. I mean, I will tell you that I think the Padres have the best roster in baseball right now. So I liked the moves yesterday, but you can't celebrate. You celebrate wins. You don't celebrate trades.
Okay. Anyway, hope everybody had a great day yesterday. Certainly was an interesting one.
Was it though, or was it not that interesting?
No, it was really interesting. It was really, really interesting.
I just look at the end of the day. We didn't need a scientific breakdown. I just wanted a little energy and a little excitement this morning.
I'm super fired up to talk about yesterday. I'll tell you what. I'm more excited about this show than I think I've been about one in a long time. And I think the Padres did really well, but I'm not going to go around celebrating a World Series title yet. I mean,
I say to celebrate? Did I say to celebrate the World Series title?
You just said a guttural scream. We do that when the Padres win. We do that when the Padres win, and we celebrate wins.
I would say
and series
yesterday.
Victory. It's not a win. It was AJ Preller doing his job and trying to set up the Padres for success. But I can't celebrate until I see what the Padres actually do with those players on the field. I don't think that this is even a hot take. I think this is how you should approach your baseball team. Good job, AJ. You did your job. You've spent a ton of prospects, and you put together a really good roster that I think can now win a World Series. But you got to go out and do it before I'm going to go and start running around in circles celebrating like a madman.
I just wanted you guys to yell, to be excited, and get some energy going. That's it. That's all I wanted. I didn't say celebrate a World Series victory. I just said that was pretty cool.
Honestly, I think it looks a little, childish to start celebrating a trade deadline. We've done it so many times, and it's come back to burn us so many times. Like, we were excited when they acquired G-Man Choi, and it's like, let's not do that again.
No, we weren't. Ben, did you put your phone in the cubby, by the way? Is your phone in the cubby today?
My phone is not in the cubby.
Put your phone in the cubby. You didn't?
I'm not on my phone right now.
Put your phone in the cubby, though.
I need my phone to do this show.
You don't.
All my notes and everything. I've got everything. My life is there. Just like you need
Well.
your phone as well.
That was.
I'm so uncomfortable right now.
I'm very uncomfortable. It was like, hey, let's be excited, for having a really interesting day.
I am excited. I'm excited for the future, but I'm not celebratory yet. I'm excited. Okay. That's different than celebrating. Guttural Scream is a celebration of a win. Yesterday was good work by the San Diego Padres that hopefully will get us to many, many guttural screams, over the next 3 months. That's what I'm hoping for. They did not win a game yesterday. They just added pieces that give them a really good chance to win games going forward.
Again, it was not meant to be that deep. It wasn't meant to be that deep.
I felt uncomfortable. I felt uncomfortable screaming about a trade. I scream about wins. I'm good with wins. Give me a win, I will scream about it. A trade is not a win. That's not the game. Right. That's not the point of the game. Is to make trades. Right. The point of baseball is to win games and win championships.
Thank you for Ben-splaining what the point of baseball is to me. Well, Alex agrees with you. Alex is one of the biggest doomers on the planet. So you've done well. Let's do a little bit of reset. How was everyone's day yesterday, other than these meaningless, worthless trades by AJ Preller? Everybody good?
Great.
It was extremely long, like the day before that and the day before that. One of the longest weeks of the year for me. I've worked probably 70 to 80 hours already this week, and it's Friday.
Maybe that's why you're a little bit grouchy. If I were there in person, I would give you a big hug.
I'm not grouchy. I really am not grouchy. I'm really excited, but I'm not celebratory. I'm just not ready to do it. I will absolutely celebrate, when they go out and start looking like I think they're capable of doing.
If you think they're capable of looking good, then wouldn't that mean you're inherently excited about what happened yesterday?
I still don't like the Mason Miller trade that much. I still don't love that one. I really don't. Right. I think some of the other trades were I loved the trade with the Orioles. I have come around on the trade with the Royals for Freddie Fermin. I think the Mason Miller was still a giant gamble for something that they didn't necessarily need. So I'm not sure about that one.
I wanted to break down these trades later in the show and just give a good, excited scream for addressing all of our needs, being excited about, tonight's game, as we were talking about before the show this morning. But, listen, I wouldn't mind doing a hard reset on this thing today, and I won't make you scream. I don't like making you do anything you don't want to do. Right. That's true.
You were asking me to do something I didn't really want to do.
Which is fair, which is absolutely fair. I've been getting I'm not surprised. I've gotten pushback from every single person in my life, more in the last 48 hours maybe than ever. Neither of my kids are listening to me. My wife has dressed me down multiple times. So maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm sensitive. So I get it. But I just was like, all right, let's just get the good vibes going. But that's not going to happen, I guess. It's okay. It's all right. It's Friday. We should be in a better mood, I think, on a Friday. But I do think everyone is a little punchy. I know you guys have been working your tail off back there. Roundtable yesterday. How did the roundtable go? Who was on the crew?
It was the normal crew, but Tony Gwynn Jr. was there, which was nice.
That was like a ad or a pop-up.
Was that a promo or something?
Don't know. We had Gravy, Braden, me, and Paul and Crisello, and nothing earth-shattering happened in that hour when it came to the Padres. So it was all reports. We mostly reacted to the first trade, which taken out of context. Obviously after all the moves, felt better at the end of the day because AJ was so thorough with all of his wheelings and dealings. In a vacuum yesterday, we were all kind of confused as to what was going on. Sometimes it would be nice just to see all the moves right away and then not have them drop in every couple of hours as you're trying to put, some context to what AJ Preller is trying to do. But it was a good, interesting, just trade deadline specific. There was no draft. There was no seventh inning stretch. We just talked baseball the entire hour without stop.
The way that they rolled in, we had gone down to, my brother stayed at a really, really, for just one day, stayed at a really cool hotel here. Maybe the best hotel on Kauai. What's it called? The One Hotel. And it's so ridiculously cool. They have such a great pool. They have a private beach. And so we went down there with our family and, with my cousin, with my nephews and my brother and sister-in-law. And they had 8 chairs laid out all in the shade and multiple pools and hot tubs and everything. It was incredible, but I told the missus too. I said, look, I've got till about noon here until this thing's over. So I'm kind of out of pocket until noon. I got to be looking at my phone. And I missed, there was a couple I think I missed towards the end, and I had to go back and was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like it just kept trickling in.
It was hard to follow all afternoon. I mean, not just with the Padres, like, we had a trade would come down. You're like, we had to wait for 30 minutes to find out. It felt like the return on one of those deals, and you're just like losing your mind. But then it was like the moves all across baseball were just coming in rapid fire. I think, what was it like? There were over 60 trades yesterday.
It was probably the wildest trade deadline day in baseball history,
Crazy.
if we're being honest.
I think it was, man. It was. I mean, again, like where I was experiencing the trade deadline was the coolest, like the absolute coolest. I'm sitting there and looking out at the views. I did the video. I'm sure you guys saw that, and the view behind me was beyond insane. And then once it was over, you still had to wait an extra 20 minutes or so to make sure, like, did they trade Cease? And the paperwork just hasn't gone through yet. And will that come trickling in? And I think at about 12:30 my time is when I went, all right, yes, I can go sit down and have lunch with everybody. So yeah, man, it was, it certainly was exciting. I mean, we have ruined everybody's morning with our just horrible open. I do apologize. We will strive to get better. But I don't know. It was pretty awesome to see. It was pretty awesome to see them address pretty much everything they need.
Everything.
I mean, at this point,
everything.
Like the checklist. Ben, you would, back in the day, I remember you would say before you left, you're like, oh, Shelly's cooking this weekend. I got to go get all the ingredients, right? And she'd give you the random stuff, like
long list,
long list of random
the
stuff.
Asian market in Kearney
Yes.
Like,
I can remember vividly. I can remember vividly on a Friday.
You'll only be able to find this at one spot. It's on El Cajon Boulevard. You go to Sinley Foods. You got to get this specific type of chicken.
He would go
detailed lists.
He would go, look at this list. It'd be 12 things. I'm like, oh, it's 12 things. It's not that bad. He's like, yeah, at 6 different places. And once I get in there, I got to find it. I got to make sure it's the right one. I got to make sure, everything. And I would laugh my ass off. Well, it's essentially what AJ Preller had to do yesterday. The list, he had to go to about 12 places yesterday to get about 12 different ingredients. And not only that, he had to spend a lot of capital to get it. And we will go through all of that. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, absolutely, you laid there in bed last night. Me, you, Ben, you, Paulie, everyone listening right now laid in bed last night and goes, all right, I think you still go Tatis 1. I mean, you could go Rise 2. You could move Rise down. You got O'Hearn.
The lineup is sexy. I mean, the lineup is extremely intriguing to think how deep all of a sudden the Padres can go, like 1 to 10, 1 to 11 now in terms of who they can put together. So yeah, I'm excited about that. I really am. I can't wait to see what it looks like on the field tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Is so game today out here is at about 3:40. Little bro is leaving today, but they're flying out at 9 tonight, which, by the way, it makes me sick to my stomach. The thought of leaving a vacation at 9 o'clock at night makes me absolutely wretch because
not even midnight here. So
red eye home. Huh?
Yeah,
red eye home.
Okay.
And so he is going to. So he's like, well, we're just going to hang all day. And then, so it's like, dude, okay, when I leave vacation and I'm done with vacation, give me that 6 a.m. flight. Get me out of here. Get me back. I want to be resting and relaxing at home on that last day. But so we're going to go back to the hotel today, hang out again outside. And man, I'm taking the iPad and I'm going to lay there on the chaise lounge and watch this game. I'm fired up, man. Not that I haven't been fired up to watch Padres baseball all season, because it was mostly up until this point was, man, these guys are, they play hard, they play tough. How are they going to get the job done? And they have more times than not, certainly. But with these new guys, it's like, whoo. Now, getting that many guys, it presents a whole new set of problems or issues, not problems necessarily. It's got a whole new set of issues that comes with it. I'd like to get into that later about, how do you construct the lineup? What do you do with the pitching staff? Who pitches where? These are the Cadillac problems that every manager dreams of. But holy cow, man, like Mike Schilt, Ruben Niebla, Ben Fritz, all our boys down there, those guys got their work cut out for them now. And for guys like Fernando Tatis, that was saying, they better get us some help. They did. They got you some help. Kidding. They got you a lot of help. And now the onus is on you guys.
Yeah. I don't want anyone to think that I have a bunch of concerns about the acquisitions. I don't. I really think that it's hard to see, it's hard to see, like, okay, what don't I like about, what the Padres have the rest of the year? Again, my reservations are simply about going around and celebrating something before it's actually happened. I don't want to tempt fate.
But it happened, though. We got them. They're ours. They're going to be in uniform tonight.
Yeah, I know.
And that's good. Let me ask you this.
It feels like tempting fate to celebrate before, like, one single guy has. I want to make sure their planes arrive safely, and like everyone's in a uniform, and it looks like what it's supposed to look like on the field. Before I actually celebrate. I just don't want to tempt fate. I'm not the superstitious one, but it just felt a little premature to me.
Aren't you, when you would go to 7 different grocery stores and you would get every ingredient that you got? Now, you didn't taste the meal yet.
Right. I celebrate.
But I know you were excited. But when you got all your stuff, when you got all your stuff and you drove home, you did not beat your chest a little bit?
You don't celebrate ingredients. You celebrate the finished product, the meal at the end. That's what you're all here for. If you just have the ingredients and they just sit there, it's not celebratory. They got to get out of the pantry. They got to get into the pan and get all mixed together. And that's the magic, is when you mix all the ingredients together.
I disagree. I thought it was, I had the valet guy yesterday going, dude, did you see all, because I had my Padres hat on. Dude, did you see all the moves? I'm like, did I see all the moves? Of course I saw all the moves. Holy smokes. Bo would run over every 10 minutes. Did we get anybody else? I'd go, yeah, we got Nestor Cortez. He's like, we did? For what? And I'm like, we'll figure that out later at this point. Yeah, Ben, did you celebrate pregnancy or only birth? Just the birth. Very weird. It's a very weird cat.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I just think you're a little tired and punchy, as we are. It was as draining as that was for us, right? Yesterday, I can't even imagine what it was like for AJ and his crew. Holy cow. I can't even imagine. And I did feel one shred of guilt. I did, a tiny little piece of guilt when I found out that AJ was coming on today. I did. I was like, God, let's let this guy go play hoops or run or do whatever he needs to do. So yeah, we'll talk to AJ Preller today. I'm looking forward to it. Did hear a little bit of his press conference yesterday as well, and liked what he had to say. And look, man, if there's one thing that guy does that I really admire, it's kind of part of Moneyball. When he said, why apologize? Like, what do you feel the need to apologize for? Don't apologize. And I promise you, man, after he pulled the trigger on those deals, I don't know that regret is something that guy feels a lot of. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure every GM has a couple that they wish they didn't do, but if you have sound reasoning behind your strong moves, then you're like, I'm not going to apologize. It didn't work out in our favor, and that's going to happen. So the guy is really convicted on what he wants and what he needs.
He does his job. He does it without fear. He makes some mistakes. He makes some good moves, but he never gets gun shy. He never says, I did this and it didn't work out, so I'm not going to pull that trigger again. He is always willing to take chances where other general managers will not. And I respect the heck out of him for it. And I will tell him that when we talk to him later this morning at 8 a.m. AJ Preller has done his job. Not really much more he can do at this point. Trade deadline is passed. He's got his team on the field, and he has given the Padres a chance to go out and win a World Series. So for AJ, I will give him Yeah, I'll give him a solid. You did your job, AJ.
I mean, that was odd, but like ultimately, is that like what more do you want as a fan than for your team, for you to feel like your team is all in, pot committed to winning a World Series title? Because unfortunately in baseball, that is not always the case. You saw what some of the other teams were doing. I mean, my God, I went over to I saw on the Twins Instagram page, their entire grid was full of thank you, player A, thank you, player B. Like they just shipped everybody off. That's not always the case, and that's how it used to be here. And now we have a team and ownership and a general manager that is going to go all in on giving us a World Series caliber roster. I couldn't have been happier yesterday.
It was like Will Ferrell in the movie Elf getting those flyers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Their whole feed. And, they kept a couple of guys like Joe Ryan and Byron Buxton. How are those guys feeling today? Walking in going, cool, I'm excited. This is going to be great. How many games we got left? 55, whatever it is. Like this is something crazy. Paulie, give Ben a hug when we go to break for me. That's from me. Dan says, I was so excited until Ben told me I shouldn't be.
I didn't say that. So don't put words in my mouth. I'm excited.
I didn't. Dan said that.
I'm excited. I'm not telling anybody not to be excited, but I also feel like there's now an immense amount of pressure that there always was, but you got to go out and do it. Pressure's a privilege. Pressure is a privilege, but you got to go out and do it now. AJ has done his job. You've got to go out and do it now. And I'm sure they love the fact that they've got the opportunity to go out there and win a championship. But it's real now. The Padres have pushed all of their chips into the middle of the table.
Literally.
They are, they are in the pot. They got nothing left. It's all right there in the middle, and they're going for it. No, I'm not saying that they can't retool,
I think he saved a $50 chip in his pocket just in case things went awry. He's got we all put like one Salas' or two
face on it. Yeah.
Yes. He's got a call it $100 chip. He's like, I'm not spending this. I'm not going to bet this. It's in my pocket. This is for food and taxi money home to the hotel. But other than that, man, I don't know how you feel the lineup in some of his minor league ballparks. So again, the kind of the American way, and you tweeted it yesterday, Benny. Chips are in. We'll worry about the consequences later. Here we go again. The San Diego Padres have pretty much retooled their entire lineup, pitching staff, all of it. And I'm excited. I'm excited to break down what we think is going to happen. It's kind of part of the gig. But, listen, forgive us for a very awkward foreplay. It was the least sexy. It was like making out with a girl and one of you farted. It's exactly what the foreplay was like.
I should have told you beforehand that I didn't want to scream and celebrate before because I didn't know. I just didn't want to tempt fate. I was going with the flow. I just didn't want to tempt fate. So
I get it.
There we go.
Get it.
All right, we will check traffic. I think we got Vicky in for Kelly this morning, if I'm not mistaken, and then we'll come back. Quickly set the menu, and then we will break down all of the trades. We had the one during the show yesterday, but then 4 more that took place after we went off the air. So much to talk about before the Padres return to action tonight to host the St. Louis Cardinals at Petco Park. We will get into all of it. Ben Woods from Kauai, Paulie here in studio, going to give me a hug here and hopefully, get everybody in a better place as we continue on San Diego's #1 sports station on a Friday morning. It's 97.3 The Fan.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort.
Friar Friday here on Ben and Woods. And on a Friar Friday, as Woods mentioned, we will chat with the president of baseball operations and general manager for your San Diego Padres, AJ Preller, probably a little bleary-eyed, Although let's face it, AJ's probably getting up and playing basketball right now that the trade deadline is over, and he will join us at 8:00 to break down the 5 moves that he made yesterday. If I had set the over
feels like
under,
more.
It does. I mean, I think they ultimately said they traded 22 players yesterday. In 5 different moves in one of the most active trade deadlines. I guess no one should be surprised that AJ Preller was once again the center of the baseball universe yesterday on trade deadline day. He is a madman. I mean, honestly, he is a madman.
Straight up.
And I say that with nothing but admiration and respect for what he does. He is not afraid to do what he thinks he can to try to make his team better. And he went out and did that yesterday. And we'll go through all 5 trades.
It was a wild, like, roller coaster day, emotion wise, for me at least. I was like, at one point, probably after the Kansas City deal, I was actually pretty mad. I was like, all right, any excitement I had from the trade from them earlier in the morning with Mason Miller trade, I was like, that's gone now. And now I'm like legitimately upset. I'm like, what the hell is going on? And then I found myself through the roof, expecting like this team to be able to go on a run now. And that's like, what is that? The 3rd time that AJ just keeps on going and replenishing the farm system. Like, I don't know, man. I know a lot of people don't like the direction that he goes, the method that he uses, but I'm starting to find myself, it's certainly the most interesting method, right?
It is.
There's no question.
It's one designed, of course, to, keep the fans coming to Petco Park. And, the Ron Fowler, he talked about it a little bit during his press conference yesterday. Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler, when they bought the team in the mid-2010s, said, hey, it's going to take a couple of years to build this up, AJ. We'll give you, a few years of a runway. But then in the decade of the 2020s, we want to be the team of the decade. And you can argue whether or not the Padres have had enough success. I think you kind of eventually have to win a World Series title to be a team of the decade. But if you want to talk about the team that has made the biggest leap from the consciousness, nationally for baseball fans, the one that has injected the most life into their fan base in this decade, that has gone from an organization that no one ever thought about to one that is constantly making national headlines that they talk about on MLB Network Radio. Heck, they were talking about the Padres on Maggie and Perloff this morning. That's how much in the consciousness that AJ Preller has put the San Diego Padres. In that sense, they really are the team of the decade here of the 2020s. They just need that ring or, a couple of rings. And then at the end, we can say, yeah, they really were the team of the 2020s. But he's done everything he can to make that dream that Ron Fowler and Peter Seidler had come true for the city of San Diego.
Yeah, I was, my father-in-law is a Dodger fan, came by last night. He did one of the weirdest things that I've ever seen, by the way. And we can talk about it because it all kind of fits into all of this. But he did something very odd, and I wanted to get your takes on it. So a couple days ago, we all go down to the beach as a family, and he brought with him in his wagon, he brought 5 Tommy Bahama chairs, and he brought a big pop-up, huge pop-up, because it's toasty, right? We were down there. We had it all screwed into the sand. It was set up perfectly. The 5 chairs under the pop-up, right? So it's where I sat when the tsunami warning went off. So I just had sat down, just got out of the water, was soothing my chafed inner thighs, giving them a little air, sat down in the seat. I was there for about 30 seconds, and he and I were chopping it up. He was sitting right next to me. Then the alarm went off. And he's the one that said, wow, okay, he's been on Kauai every year for about 30 years. So he's kind of, born into, halfway local, I guess, because he does own property here. So we're sitting there, and I get up, and we start loading up our wagon, and he's putting stuff away. But you know what he did? He left his tent, and he left the chairs there. And I said to him, I go, Scott, do you want us to load this stuff up? He goes, nah, I'll get it tomorrow. And I said, well, there's a tsunami coming, allegedly. And he goes, no, I'll leave it. Now, he, of everyone I know, other than my dad, are the two guys that would say, I'm not leaving anything behind. I'm not leaving anything behind. We are clearing up. We're taking all of our stuff. The guy left it. Well, we came back. The tsunami was kind of a nothing burger. We came back with, I just can't believe I said nothing burger. We came back the next day. It was still there. Still there. Nothing had changed. Nothing had moved. We're like, oh, this is pretty cool. We used it again. He went back last night at 6:00 and it was gone. Somebody had swiped everything. So he stopped by our house to let us know that somebody had, in fact, stolen the pop-up and the 5 Tommy Bahama chairs. And, of course, we start talking about the trade deadline. And he is a rabid Dodgers fan. And he was looking at me, and he goes, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. And he goes, I got to be honest with you. He goes, I never really heard. He goes, I knew of one guy that the Dodgers brought in today. He goes, I'm really, really surprised that Andrew Friedman didn't do more to address this team. He goes, but, we got to keep all of our top prospects. And I said, well, good for you guys. I mean, the one team on the planet that could do literally whatever they want. They could have traded for anybody on the market. And he goes, well, the team hasn't really been playing that well anyway, so maybe don't reward these guys. I'm like, are you kidding, dude? You still lead the division by 3 games. You got guys coming back. You needed some help. You didn't really address it. I go, Scotty, don't give me we're so smart. We do everything right. I go, it's a different philosophy that A.J. Preller has to operate under. He has to operate under a different set of rules than Andrew Friedman. And I'll tell you, man, there's a few GMs out there this morning probably didn't want to get up and come to work, because of their lack of effort and, honestly, dedication to their team yesterday. And everybody thinks that they are so smart. Look, at the end of the day, A.J. Preller had a grocery list, and he went out and he addressed every single one, man. It was just nuts. So the feeling about A.J. Preller from a lot of rival teams right now is, I think there's a little bit of admiration there. Admiration, shock. I certainly felt shocked. I went through every range of emotion on A.J. Preller yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
I don't get, every other team could do what A.J. Preller does. The Padres farm system at least was ranked, in the 20s. So there are other teams in contention that could have gone out and sold a bunch of prospects and added to their roster here and so many of them didn't. The Dodgers, they hold on to these prospects, but where are they going to play? They have, veteran major leaguers who are locked up to long-term deals. And I think that's one thing that I've come to learn as the Padres have gotten better over the years. Even if you have prospects, where are you going to bring them up? I mean, you've got a target. Like, they targeted Jackson Merrill. They absolutely needed him to go to center field, and it worked out. But for the most part, when you've got your positions like your corner infielders, your corner outfielders, your second baseman locked up for years and years, even if you have a prospect, they don't really get a chance to come up to the big leagues because you're pretty much set with veteran guys who know what they're doing. So, yeah, what are the Dodgers going to do? They should be trading these prospects to try to win more championships. And it's really odd, Woods, that they don't, and they hold on to so many of them for so long. And then eventually they have to sell them for pennies on the dollar, like Dustin May yesterday. Now, yeah, he's had a lot of injuries and stuff, but Dustin May was one of the top prospects in baseball. He did come up with their team, but eventually your roster gets so crowded if you're the Dodgers. They traded him because, well, they didn't have any more room for him in the starting rotation. He wanted to keep starting, and it's like, all right, I guess we got to sell him and not even get that much for him in the end, when you could trade your prospects now and get a really good impact player for a pennant run.
Well, and again, they operate on a different level, right? They can sign a free agent. They can miss honestly on 5 free agents if they wanted to, and it's not going to cripple their ownership group. It's just not. So they operate on a different plane, and that's what I was telling him yesterday. He was telling me, I'm pretty surprised that there wasn't more activity. So listen, and he of course is not the only one. There's some GMs around the league, and I think we'll feature at least one, and don't do this today, and that's Craig Breslow from the Boston Red Sox. And then you got the guys like in Chicago that had pieces to sell and they didn't sell, and so many guys out there that were rumored to be the hottest commodities, they're staying with their team, and their team got nothing in return, and some of these guys may end up walking. But it certainly was a wild trade deadline, and highlighted by the work that AJ Preller did yesterday. Man, it was truly a masterpiece. Now, again, just like a trade, by the way, just like a trade, we don't know what Leo's going to turn into. And if Leo turns into the next big thing, sure, you're going to lament that for a little bit, unless you go out and win a World Series this year. That being said, the same thing goes with trades. You don't know that Ryan O'Hearn's going to come in and keep those crazy, crazy numbers he has in high leverage. You don't know that Ramon Laureano is going to come in and do what he's continuing. We have no idea. And I think, you need to take that into account, along with taking into account what these prospects that we got rid of will turn into. And I'm excited to break down each and every one. I think it was incredible. But the entire range of emotion a human being can feel. I saw it on Twitter yesterday. F. AJ Preller. This guy needs to be put in jail. Then, okay, I kind of like this one. What? This one makes no sense. Oh, my God, he did it. That madman son of a gun. He actually did it. Oh, my God, we got this guy too? I mean, it went down and up. And it just, by the end of the day, you look at it and you go, holy crap, dude. Once you put it on paper, once you put that rotation on paper, once you put the bench on paper, once you put the lineup out on paper against righties, against lefties, you go, this son of a bitch did it. He really, really did it.
Yeah, his quote was, if you want to win a championship, you just can't have any weak spots. And yeah, he has eliminated the weak spots on the San Diego Padres roster. We'll start there. You weren't there for the roundtable, but Tony Gwynn Jr. Said something that made us all think pretty strongly about at least the Leo DeVries trade to get Mason Miller yesterday. We'll start there. Of course, we got 8 o'clock circled. That's when AJ is going to be on the show. We'll throw in our regular features, but this show is all about reacting to yesterday's trade deadline and the massive moves made by your San Diego Padres. We'll check more on that after Sue Aller's traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury.
This game day traffic report is brought to you by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Watch out, the 805 is a mess. Southbound construction taking down 2 lanes between the I-5 North and Miramar Road, exit 25B. Then just after that, there's a crash on the southbound side by exit 20B. Reports of a brush fire on the northbound side of the 805 right at Parkway, so lots of fire department activity off on the shoulder. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? We always bottle our Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all our bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from our own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Sue Alder with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So yesterday during the roundtable, Woods, Tony Gwynn asked the question, how good does Leo DeVries have to end up being before you can say, I really regret that we traded him? And I think it was Braden who popped in and said, he has to be better than Fernando Tatis Jr. And Tony kind of goes, yeah, exactly. And what are the chances that any prospect really ends up having that great of a career? And we all had to kind of sit there, Paulie, and kind of look around and go, it's true. The odds are extremely unlikely for any prospect, no matter how highly touted they are, no matter how advanced they are for their age or how well they're doing in the minor leagues. There are so many things that can go wrong between single A and turning into a productive everyday Major League Baseball player that if you can get, 4 years of Mason Miller, already a proven all-star, plus a solid starting pitcher for 3 more years in J.P. Sears, you can't really look at that as a bad deal. Now, yeah, if Leo turns into the next Fernando plus, yeah, you're going to go, oh, that was probably not a very good trade. But the odds are against that, a 10 to 1, 20 to 1. It's that he's
maybe
playing
more,
the odds, maybe more.
Maybe more. I did see somebody put it out yesterday. Baseball Prospectus, somebody put out a list of the highest traded draft picks in the last 20 years, right? And really, like Eloy Jimenez was up there. No, it was Yohan Moncada. that was traded, number one prospect overall in baseball, was traded, and Yohan Moncada, okay, certainly not a world beater by any stretch. You had a couple of guys like Eloy Jimenez was on there. You had Lucas Giolito was traded at one point. I mean, the names were not anything that you looked at and went, wow, what an absolutely terrible move that was. Now, that's not to say that Leo Dallas DeVries wouldn't go out and be the next one. But yeah, man, I don't understand. At the time, I did not understand the move, giving up your number one prospect, the shortstop that you thought was absolutely going to slide in there in the next year or two. So at this point, after seeing the totality of the moves, which we kind of warned everybody yesterday that we needed to do, let's see the whole package. The whole package looks pretty beautiful when you look at it on paper.
I do feel like, they gave up a lot for an area, a bullpen that they're already really strong at. Now, it could be the difference between winning a World Series and not winning a World Series. So I'm not going to say that A.J. Preller made a mistake there, because it absolutely, one inning of Mason Miller in the right spot in the right game in October can be the difference between going home and going on. So
don't you think
I
we're
certainly
also,
understand that thinking.
Don't you think we're also in better position for next year now than we were yesterday? I think we are.
I think that the idea and
you have a catcher with control that I think you can be sold on your left fielder next year.
I'm simply talking about the first move, the Mason Miller and JP Sears move. And I do think that, the possibility of converting Mason Miller into a starter is intriguing. A.J. Preller did not deny that they might do that. He didn't confirm that they would do that. He simply said, for now, he's a great reliever, and that's what he's going to be for the Padres for the rest of the season. And then they'll huddle and think about it going forward. I do think if he's converted to a starter and that's successful, then that's an easy win for the Padres. If he just remains a reliever for the next 4 years, you gave up a lot for a relief pitcher, no matter how good he is. But he is really, really, really good. The rest of the moves, Paulie, yeah, I really liked what A.J. Preller did yesterday after that first trade. And it started then with the next move. The one that at the initial moment when I saw it, I went massive overpay. Freddie Fermin. Fermin, who is Freddie Fermin?
Yes.
A backup catcher to Salvi Perez, and you gave up two legitimate major league starting pitchers, young guys who are starting to come into their own in Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek. And I thought, my goodness, that trade seems like a massive overpay, as badly as you need catching help. But then I was a guest on a radio show in Kansas City, and they started talking about Freddie Fermin. And I did not even realize they love him so much there. I mean, I don't know how A.J. Preller pried Freddie Fermin out of Kansas City. They say, you will not believe what a great guy he is, what a great teammate, a great presence, and he's a really, really good catcher. He can hit. If Salvi Perez wasn't in Kansas City, he would have been their everyday catcher a long time ago. And this is a perfect opportunity for Freddie Fermin to become, the big league, get some attention for what he can absolutely do. And all of a sudden I was going like, did we just get a steal in Freddie Fermin? I mean, he's going to be the starting catcher for your San Diego Padres this season and probably for the next few seasons going forward, based on what I'm hearing from Kansas City.
Yeah, I read a thread about him as well, and it sold me, honestly. Now I'm easily sold, so that's don't have to listen to me, but I was really easily sold, and again, you nailed it, Benny. As far as the work that this guy puts in, obviously playing behind Salvi, didn't really have that opportunity. They lost the fans there lost their minds. They absolutely lost their minds. Now they're going to get back a kid that I absolutely love, and that's Ryan Bergert. I was so surprised that he was moved. We always talk about it, man. He's got that competitive dog in him. And, listen, a trade has to hurt, but there's something about Freddie Fermin that AJ and his staff saw. And one thing I saw AJ say was talking about the A-plus person that he is. And that's really important to them these days. And listen, if it was Kolek for Fermin, I'd go, all right, yeah, makes sense. throwing in Burgert meant, man, this is really, really tough for Kansas City to let him go. And, I'm excited to see what Freddie Fermin can do being the starting catcher now.
Yeah. I mean, I liked Kolek, but I don't mind, losing him. Burgert's the real prize
Burgert's one that hurt.
I told the guys in Kansas City, Burgert, you got a good one in Burgert. We'll go to the next trade, which was the real game changer when we come back with more Ben and Woods on the Fan. If you want to know what kind of general manager A.J. Preller is, I think you look no further than the trade with the Baltimore Orioles yesterday. Welcome back, Ben and Woods and Paul, hour number 2 here on a Friday. Now, all of the trades, I mean, the Mason Miller trade, that's A.J.'s I do not take no for an answer side, which we talked about. I mean,
Yes.
he and, Ken Rosenthal told a story yesterday on Foul Territory that A.J. was interested in Mason Miller and called like a week ago. And the A's said, no, we're not trading him. Don't bother calling back. And AJ was like, okay. And then the next day he called back again. And they said, no, we're not interested. We told you. And he kept calling and he kept calling and saying, how about this? How about this? What if we do this? He said, well, what other prospects can I acquire from other teams to then get, Mason Miller? And they said, we're not interested, AJ. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. And somehow Mason Miller is still a member of the San Diego Padres today.
Changed?
So that's his persistent, relentless side. But I think the trade with the Baltimore Orioles to pick up Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn really indicates who A.J. Preller is, because we spent a lot of time the last couple of months trying to identify what outfielder would be the guy that could really help the Padres and extend the lineup. And AJ is the kind of guy, when you get the dessert menu at the restaurant and you look and you go, oh, man, I can't decide between the creme brulee and the molten chocolate lava cake. I love both of them. I don't know, but I have to pick one. And AJ is the kind of guy that goes, just give them both to me. I'll just take them both, and we'll just have 2 desserts instead. And he went out.
That sounds familiar. I'm actually that guy as well. I'll take one of each, to be honest.
Exactly.
How did you gain all the weight?
And
I had because I averaged 2 desserts at a time. That's how.
Just
Larry.
said, you know what? Why would I get just one extra bat from my lineup from the Orioles when I can get 2 complimentary bats in Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn? And the stat that blew me away yesterday, Woods, was if you put the OPSs of all the Padres, including the new ones, down on paper, the new ranking for best OPS this season, it would go like this: Laureano, Machado, O'Hearn are now your 3 top offensive players this season. I'm going, wait, they just picked up 2 guys that sandwich around Manny Machado in terms of offensive production this year, and Manny's having one of his best seasons ever. And by the way, Ramon Laureano is a really good defensive player too, and O'Hearn can play both first base and the outfield. You can move him around and you can DH him, and they can hit off both sides. Like, how did he do this? How did he get both of them? And he goes, tell me what it takes to get both of them, and I will get both of them.
Yeah, man, I'm with you 100%. I couldn't believe it. I heard the same story from Ken Rosenthal, and it's kind of the mark of a great salesman. Honestly, just be relentless. If you've ever seen the movie Wall Street, right? You see the movie Wall Street, and Bud Fox really wants to do business with Gordon Gekko. And he calls Gordon Gekko's office every single day. And I think he calls 65 days in a row. I want to talk to Gordon Gekko. No, he's unavailable, Mr. Fox. I've told you that. So he finally shows up, in the office with a box of cigars. And guess what happens? He gets his meeting with Gordon Gekko. Now he ends up going to prison later. But he had a nice little run there for a while. The persistence of A.J. Preller is what makes him A.J. Preller. And, getting that first initial no from the A's did not deter him at all. Getting the third no did not deter him. So I admire that quality in a GM. Again, though, for me, I think it boiled down to yesterday, why Mason Miller? Like, why, of all players that you had targeted, why Mason Miller? And I think I know why. Again, he really talked yesterday on his press conference about you can always make a strength stronger, and shortening games in the playoffs, should you get there, is really it's a very brilliant strategy if you're able to just go dog for 5 innings straight. Takes a lot of pressure off of you, Darvish, and Dylan Cease and Michael King and the rest of the guys. So it was nuts. We were blown away when that trade went down. I couldn't believe it. And now all I know is tonight, boy, I hope we have a 1-run lead at some point and get to see these guys come in and do their thing. So I'm elated for it. Just guy just wouldn't take no for an answer and got the job done. So really crazy.
As for the return that the Padres sent to the Orioles, 6 draft picks from last year. And I think there are some good players possibly in there. But when you're talking about guys who are that new to the minor league system, Boston Bateman, Tyson Neighbors, Tanner Smith, Brandon Butterworth, Victor Figueroa, and Cobb Hightower, those are some lottery picks, lottery, scratchers. Like, if one of them gives you a nice little return, maybe it's Bateman. Tyson Neighbors is probably the closest to the big leagues of those guys. The Orioles are just kind of hoping that a couple of those guys pan out and turn into something big, and they might not. But I'm not really all that concerned about what the Padres had to pay to get 2 guys who I think absolutely will help them probably more than anybody else that they acquired. I mean, it just changes the lineup entirely. Mike Schilt can do so much now with his lineups. And AJ talked yesterday about one of the things they can do is they can rest 1 or 2 starters almost every day and, move Gavin Sheets, move, all different guys in and out of the lineup to keep them fresh going into the postseason. And by the way, then they'll have a bench, which they haven't had all season long, because when you're resting 2 starters, you've got 2 really good bats coming off the bench almost every single day that can be weapons when you need a big hit later in the game, something the Padres have not had all season long.
Excited. Very excited to see what they do, how they deploy it. Tonight, you're going up against the Cardinals. You got Matthew Liberatore. He's a left-handed pitcher. Now, do we know, these guys were coming in from all different places.
They'll all be there tonight. Yeah, they'll all be there. They will make moves, and the roster will be set. You had players yesterday playing for their new teams that were traded, on Wednesday. It happens really fast, so they will be there tonight.
So I, fully expect to see some of these guys in the lineup, and it's going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy to see. And man, I'm excited to see how this thing materializes. And, you talk about pressure earlier in the show. Yeah, the pressure is absolutely on. No question about it. And, you hope these guys come in and stay doing exactly what they've done, not trying to do too much. I got to imagine being traded to a team like the Padres with, good players on it, like Manny and Arise and Merrill and Tatis and all those guys. I don't know, man. I don't think I would feel that pressure of, I'm going to have to do too much here. It's like, no, I just need to come in and do what I've been doing. And it's a different ballpark. Yeah, it's different teammates. It's a different uniform, but I don't have to come. Ryan O'Hearn does not have to come in and carry this baseball team, and neither does Ramon Laureano. And Mason Miller doesn't have to carry the bullpen. JP Sears isn't anchoring our rotation. Like, these are just really good, really, really good complementary pieces.
It's a good point. It's a good point. All of those guys' jobs got easier, actually, by being traded to the San Diego Padres. Now, yeah, the stakes are much higher than they were for the A's or the Orioles, who were going nowhere. But honestly, I don't expect Mike Schilt to change the top of his lineup that much. So you'll have like Laureano and O'Hearn probably batting in like the 6 and 7 type slots in the order, where they're really more like, 2, 3, 4, 5 hitters, in the sense of Major League Baseball, their production. So all of a sudden the Padres went from having maybe the worst 7, 8, 9 in the league to arguably they may have like the best 7, 8, 9 or close to it in the league. I mean, that's how much AJ upgraded the lineup. And
there are no excuses now. No excuses anymore.
KG, the difference in this trade deadline and previous ones, we needed saviors previously, and here we are just bolstering. And man, it's honestly like, now, and this is interesting too, because we always say, man, if a name is mentioned, AJ Preller usually doesn't go out and get that guy that is mentioned. But I'll tell you, credit to Craig Elston for coming on our show a couple weeks ago and saying Ramon Laureano is somebody that he would like. Ryan O'Hearn, people have been talking about him for a while. He literally went out and got a lot of the guys that we thought. Now, Freddie Fermin was a total surprise. Had no idea that was coming. Nestor Cortez was a complete and total surprise there. They were able to pick up apparently a really good shortstop prospect from the Brewers. I did not see that till after. I thought it was straight up Lockridge for Nestor Cortez, but they picked up a shortstop prospect from the Brewers, 18 years old. Again, expect him to be moved in a couple of years potentially, but it's again just a little bit of replenishing of a farm team that I think the word decimated is a pretty fair word. That farm team was decimated. By the way, again, he continues to replenish. He continues to get good players for those guys. I guess how many times does he need to do this before we all just go, oh yeah, no sweat. That's what he does.
So the last two trades, as you kind of hinted at, were maybe the smaller ones, but important nonetheless. Don't know a ton about Will Wagner. It seemed like he's done some good things for the Blue Jays. He's Billy Wagner's kid. He's sent to the minors by the Padres, so he's not going to be with the team right away. But at some point,
apparently
he may
good
be
hitter.
He may be a good bat off the bench and an infielder that you can plug in if you need him later in the season. That was a pretty minor deal for catcher Brandon Valenzuela. That does mean that, by the way, Luis Camposano is your only viable third major league catcher, because they released Martin Maldonado, designated for assignment, as it was Trenton Brooks yesterday, to make room for some of the new players. So you are a little thin in your catching depth behind Fermin and Elias Diaz at this point. Hopefully those guys stay healthy, but that's just something to keep aware of. And then the last trade, which I still don't understand. The Padres pick up Nestor Cortez, who's not a bad pitcher. Now, he's coming back from an injury. He's only made 2 starts, but he's supposed to be returning this month. He's a left-hander. He's a veteran, has an ERA in the 3s against National League opponents. He's got a winning record. There's nothing wrong with Nestor Cortez. And you also got the prospect that you talked about in the deal, the shortstop prospect, who immediately is in the Padres top 10 of rankings of prospects. And you got the Brewers to pay for essentially almost all of the rest of Nestor Cortez's contract this year. And I'm thinking, okay, for all of that, you must have had to give up a decent prospect. You did it for Brandon Lockridge. And again, no shade toward Brandon Lockridge.
You didn't think he had that much value,
but I mean, you're not even using him. At this point, what I don't know. I mean, everyone needs speed in the playoffs, and maybe the Brewers are thinking that he's a pinch runner for us in the postseason, and we need someone like that. But boy, it sounds like the Padres got a lot back for Brandon Lockridge in that deal.
I mean, after the listen, there's a Twitter account that kind of grades trades. And after they put in everything based on their formula, they did the Mason Miller trade, and they said, yes, slight overpay from the San Diego Padres. Slight. Then they did that one. They said, no, this was an overpay by the Milwaukee Brewers. And yeah, I didn't really understand it, but I'm here for it. I think maybe that prospect was the thing that put AJ over the edge. And I don't know how much salary they dumped in Milwaukee from Nestor Cortez and that prospect for Brandon Lockridge, but I imagine it was significant.
No,
I think
the Padres got cash back. Yeah, the Brewers are
we
paying.
got cash back. Oh my God.
The Brewers are paying for Nestor Cortez to play for the Padres the rest of this season.
Well, after being quote unquote fleeced 3 or 4 times that day, it was good that we got a fleecing in on another team as well, because it's got to balance out.
And Nestor Cortez, I don't expect him to be, high leverage innings in the playoffs. He's essentially the 7th starter once Michael King comes back for the Padres, but you may need him. Right. You may need him a few times down the stretch, and you certainly is someone that you feel comfortable throwing in there. Needed to replace Ryan Bergert and Stephen Kolek's innings somehow, and getting Sears and Cortez to add to the rotation gives you 2, veteran options now. That really do a good job of replacing both of those guys that you traded away to get your catcher.
Well, usually when this happens, because we are always very active at the deadline, and we have a lot of friends around baseball. So when the Miller and Sears trade came through, I texted our beloved Jessica Kleinschmidt, who covers the A's, and I asked her about those guys, and she said, I am beyond devastated today. Let me have a moment. She said, I can't believe it. She said, JP Sears is probably my closest friend on the team.
Really?
She said he is one of the most incredible human beings you will ever meet. She said Mason is a total G. These, again, really quality human beings that AJ Preller has added to the team with years of control. So these are going to be guys that will be here. These are guys that you're going to be able to look forward to seeing, for the years to come. She said, you're getting 2 of the finest human beings that you could ever get, and listen, speaking of trade deadlines past, there's been some guys we acquired where I did not get the highest praise from people that cover them every day. And I thought that was important to note today. Great human beings.
It's definitely something that AJ has evolved
He's learned.
to focus more on, and that is the intangibles of the players that he acquires, and what they bring to a locker room and what they bring to a community. I know that's not as important as the production that they can give you on the field generally, but it clearly, I mean, we were talking about Marcelo Ozuna. I mean, that's a whole different conversation.
It's a whole different combo.
He went the absolute opposite direction. And yeah, everything I've heard about Fermin, what you just said about Sears, about Miller, and some of the guys that they've brought in O'Hearn, these are guys who were all loved by their teammates, loved by their fan bases, and will immediately fit in with a team that is filled with a bunch of other guys like that. I mean, this is definitely, when it comes to the vibe factor, very strong work by AJ Preller in putting together a complete, 40-man roster now for the Padres.
Yeah, man. Super excited to see it. Super excited to see how they fit in. And, again, on paper, San Diego Padres got a lot better yesterday.
All right, we will come back. I do want to, at some point, kind of look ahead as to the future consequences, because, we talked about all the prospects, but honestly, AJ's done a pretty decent job of setting the Padres up with controllable years to have a roster that's going to look pretty similar and decent for at least the short term, like 2026, 2027, because of the control he got. Even if they don't re-sign, Dylan Cease, Luis Ariz, there are options there, and we can kind of look at the long-term implications of all these trades coming up. Next, though, is don't do this. And you brought up some of the other teams that fell kind of flat, including maybe the GM who's done the most to kind of, I guess the Devers trade has sort of worked out for him. But again, Craig Breslow facing criticism from his own fan base and having a really weird response to it. Coming up next in Don't Do This. We'll get
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place. Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa.
Don't Do This is brought to you by Trust and Will.
Don't.
Leave your entire estate, house, kids, and life savings up to chance if and when you die.
Do.
Set up a trust or will online at trustandwill.com.
This
is a lot more affordable than you think. Visit trustandwill.com for more info. And I will start. The San Diego Padres may have dodged a bullet. Now, this report is from a source that I don't really know much about. They're a Twitter account called Mets Prospect Group. And they tweeted this yesterday. MPG exclusive.
You're not only a Padres hugger, you're a Mets prospect hugger
apparently.
Too? Jeez.
And they said Padres top pitching prospect in the 2026 international class, Jefferson Sanchez, is being suspended for age falsification. Had a deal for a $900,000 signing bonus. So I tried to do a little more research, and the Padres indeed are linked to this pitcher, Jefferson Sanchez, for a deal, close to seven figures for next year's international class, which you can't sign until January of next year when all the the money resets. But he is someone apparently the Padres were targeting and is well thought of. And according to this report, at least, it's potentially he's not the age. So he'd be 15, going to be 16, which is the age that they can sign international deals under the current Major League CBA rules. But this is something that is not, still uncommon in Latin American countries, where you'll take a kid who is really 17 already or something and falsify their birth certificate to make them look like they're 15. So they look like they're stud prospects because they're competing against kids who are a couple of years younger than they are. And, they can take care of their families with this big signing bonus. And maybe they get found out. Maybe they never get found out. But it is constantly vigilant that these scouts have to be to try to make sure these kids are who they say they are and they are the age that they say they are. I have no idea. Padres won't comment on it. He's not a Padre yet. Haven't signed him. Maybe they never will now if that is true. But it is always a concern to make sure that these kids are the actual age they say they are.
Crazy, man. I saw that kid was throwing like 98 miles an hour. And I'm like, holy cow. I still may be worth a signing. I don't think he's 40.
Yeah,
I'm
saying? And he very well may
be,
but not for as much money as you thought you were going to. This
no
kid
doubt.
from the Dominican, if he's not really 15 years old, you probably won't invest nearly as much of your limited bonus pool that you can for international players for a guy who's not what he says he is. But we'll see if that's turns out to be a true story and what the Padres end up doing about it in January when the international window opens.
Well, pretty interesting day, or not an interesting day in Boston. And if you want to, if you got some time to kill today, just go to your X platform, go to the search bar and just put in Craig Breslow and read the comments in that you will see. Oh my God. I mean, he is getting absolutely torched. Of course, the GM, president of baseball operations for the Boston Red Sox, the big market Boston Red Sox, did not have a great trade deadline at all. And remember, when he traded, in his opinion, a big problem in Rafael Devers to the San Francisco Giants, got a pretty light return for that deal. He kind of told everybody, listen, relax, wait till you see what we do at the deadline. They went out and they got Steven Matz and they got Dustin May, did not really address many of their other needs. And listen, Dodger employee Ken Rosenthal is the one that really went off on Craig Breslow. Check this out. He was on with Dodger lover Alana Rizzo yesterday.
They did nothing. This is a massive disappointment for the Red Sox and their fan base.
Epic fail. Comes off an epic fail last year's deadline with Craig Breslow, and this was an epic fail as well. Now, again, they met the same problem that the Cubs ran into. Joe Ryan is another starting pitcher who wasn't traded, but my understanding is any talks that they had with the Twins were feeble at best. They didn't come at them hard. The Red Sox are one of many teams that uses modeling and tries to figure out what the best values are, and it's all about efficiency and getting the best deal and this and that and the other thing. At some point, you've got to fire. It's the same thing we're saying with the Cubs. And they did not even address first base, which I know they've gotten decent work out of Romy Gonzalez and Abraham Toro, but my goodness, that was a position where they had to act. They tried for Suarez, Eugenio Suarez, and they tried with the idea of playing him at first base, didn't get him. Didn't get a starter other than Dustin May, who has not been a very successful starter for the Dodgers. And in their bullpen with Steven Matz, he's a swing guy. He can be effective, but my goodness, they needed more. This is a team that is on the rise. And again, they may say, we're going to be better next year. Our young guys will be that much better. Yeah, that's what the Orioles were saying a year ago. There is no guarantee in this sport or any other. So the Red Sox, I don't get it. I don't understand it. And there's going to be some people in Boston, a lot of people in Boston, questioning what the heck they did.
Couple things, Benny and tier ones out there to add. So the Dodgers were actually able to get back for Dustin May, James Tibbs III, who was the fifth best Red Sox prospect that they received from San Francisco. So they actually got back a pretty decent the Dodgers got back a pretty decent prospect for Dustin May, who, again, they didn't really have room for. So Breslow, has had a rough one, and he went this morning, and this is why I need to find this and listen to it later. He was on the Greggle show this morning. They had a live audience, and apparently he got booed by the live audience in Fall River this morning. So not the best day or the best couple of off seasons and trade deadlines for Craig Breslow.
Breslow's quote, though, is the one that blows me away. There's not a lot of sympathy for how hard we tried to get deals across the line. I mean,
no.
Yeah, I know. You just don't. I mean, no one wants to know how hard you were trying to get
Red
a deal
Sox
done.
fans. Red Sox fans, out of all of the fans, they don't care how hard you worked, how many phone calls you made. At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, he said we pursued a number of really impact opportunities, but it wasn't from an unwillingness to get uncomfortable. I don't think that the fan base wants to know how close you were or how hard you tried.
This was posted 12 minutes ago.
Guys, Craig Breslow, the chief baseball officer of the Boston Red Sox. Good morning.
Man,
now, to be fair, when they traded Rafael Devers, I believe they were 36-36, and now they're 8 games above 500 and in playoff position in the American League.
That doesn't make anyone feel better, because after trading Rafael Devers, they're up, they've been playing better, and you get to the deadline and you tell everybody, look, we traded Devers, yes, but wait till the deadline. We're going to kill it. And then you didn't do anything. I think it actually makes it worse. So guys in the chamber today, and those Sox fans are fit to be tied.
Finally, a little do this.
DD mega do.
I'm going to set the over-under on total minutes that the three of us watched the Hall of Fame game between the Chargers and the Lions yesterday at 1/2 of 1 minute, and I'm taking the under.
Yeah, I didn't see any of it. I didn't even know they were playing.
I put $100 on the line.
Of course you did.
No,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
So I didn't watch the game, but I did see what is actually a do this last night, and that is the NFL debuted their new virtual first down measurement system for the Hall of Fame game, and this is coming to the regular season this year. Instead of the chain gang stopping the game for like 4 minutes as they come out and stick the chain down, and the guy pulls it, and the referee gets up real close.
First, we're going to challenge the spot of the ball, so that's going to take 5 minutes. All right, now we've got the correct spot. Now let's bring the chain gang back out.
Once the ball is spotted, all they have to do is push a button, and it's like the ABS system in baseball or the tennis line system. You simply see the football on the field, it scans in, and then the line comes up, and you go, all right, first down. He definitely made it over the line. It's quite clear. It's going to save quite a bit of time and quite a bit of analog hassle on the NFL sidelines going forward. How they took so long for this to actually be developed,
no kidding.
No idea. But one of the weirdest anachronisms of all of sports, the chain gang.
Tennis is like, we've been doing this for years, guys.
It's finally going away. They'll still be out there like for a backup in case the system fails or something, but you won't see those guys out there on the field anymore.
Interesting. I can't wait to see it. Speeding football up, I think, especially in that regard, I think it was necessary, and it's about time.
And that is Don't and Do This for a Friday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, there were tons of other moves in baseball. We can talk about those, plus the future impact of the moves that the Padres made, and then A.J. Preller at the top of the hour, all coming up. More Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Quickly, gang, let me tell you about Loan Pronto. If you're maxed out on your credit cards, if you're struggling with high-interest debt, you can pay it all off in days with Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan. Hope you're having a great Friday, gang. It is Woodsy. You can get cash out now in your home's value without touching your low-rate first mortgage. No appraisals, no waiting, no BS. The Rapid Equity Loan Program at Loan Pronto is pretty incredible. You can cut your monthly expenses by up to $1,800. That's a pretty big turnaround. Instant approvals, low rates, no hard credit pull up front. That equity in your home is your equity. Use it, get cash out, consolidate your debt down to one easy, low monthly payment, zero it out, get it back down, and then pay that payment every single month. Call Loan Pronto now for a free instant appraisal for your home. See how much cash you could get out today. Call now, get the conversation started. 619-207-4336. They are A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, have nearly 2,500 5-star Google reviews. Service is impeccable. LoanPronto.com, 619-207-4336. Get debt relief now at Loan Pronto. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781. On approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Question: how concerned are Dodgers fans now about the Padres in their rearview mirror after a trade deadline day? It was very different up in Los Angeles. Welcome back, Woods, Paul, and Ben. We got AJ Preller coming up on a Friday at the top of the hour. Yeah, the Dodgers did a couple of moves, but nothing huge. They added a bullpen arm in Brock Stewart, who's having a good season, but is also nearing a career high in innings pitched already. So you're not exactly sure how much more you're going to get out of him. And then they added an outfielder in Alex Call. Again, having a decent season, hits lefties pretty well, but certainly no stunners. And they also got rid of a couple of major league players in Dustin May and James Outman, who were both traded. All in all, a fairly quiet deadline for the Dodgers, who have seen the Padres creep up in the rearview mirror to just 3 games back going into the final 2 months of the season. And then, of course, they got to watch the Padres go out and significantly improve their lineup and bullpen and roster. I would think if I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm at least somewhat concerned going into August and September and really counting on a lot of injured players coming back and looking, like their prime selves, which doesn't always happen when it comes to injured players.
Well, again, the thing I thought about last night, right when I went to bed, as I thought about, oh boy, Padres get the big splash at the deadline and improve their roster significantly. Bullpen, starting lineup, catcher, all the holes were filled. That sounds weird. I get it, but we did fill the holes yesterday. Does that do something to you if you're a Dodger player? Does it wake you up a little bit and you go, oh, okay, so look who thinks that they're in it again. Look who little brother thinks that he's got a shot, and let's go prove who big brother really is. I mean, yes, I think it absolutely does. I think the Dodgers are a pretty confident organization in what they have, and I think it was evidenced by the lack of splashy moves. And I'll say this, man, for Alex Friedman, I will give him a lot of credit. He has the most resources of anybody. The league bends to their demands, with the Shohei stuff and obviously the deferrals and things like that. Like, the league is in their favor, but he is not a reactive GM at all. He's not. Now, if it were me and I was the GM of the Dodgers and AJ Preller went out and got Mason Miller and Ryan Helsley was off the board, I would have panicked. I'm telling you right now, I would have absolutely panicked. And I would have gone out and said, we got to do something. We got to do something. Where I grew up in the Connecticut area, Benny, once the Red Sox started getting good, it was these reactive moves by the Yankees every single year. And he won't do it. He just refuses to do it. He spent a ton of money in the offseason so that he wouldn't have to do it at the deadline. But I'll tell you, this could be, unfortunately, the wake-up call that the Dodgers need to say, oh, God, there is no more cruising. We're only 3 games up, and look what the Padres have done. You'd hate to see those guys get woken up and start playing really great baseball again.
We'll see what happens. They will be getting important players back, bullpen arms, Blake Trinan, guys that give the Padres trouble. So I think the Dodgers remain the biggest obstacle for the Padres in the National League. And I believe that the Padres now have, at this moment, the best roster in all of baseball. But that means the Dodgers, when they get healthy, can still have the best roster in all of baseball. Even all the moves that the Padres made didn't necessarily push them past a healthy Dodgers team. Now, an injury-riddled Dodgers team, yeah, I think the Padres are better. If the Dodgers get healthy again, of course, with the depth that they have at starting pitching and the MVPs at the top of the order, I don't know that anyone was ever putting together a better, on paper at least, roster. But whether they say it or not, and the Padres always say their goal is to win the division, have the best record possible. I think the moves are clear that the Padres' goal now has to be win the division and try to get a bye in the first round of the playoffs, get one of those top 2 seeds in the National League. It is definitely not out of reach. I mean, you look at the standings today, and I know most of the time I look backwards in the standings, like how close is the next team in the wild card? Just get in the playoffs, just get in the tournament. But if you look at the entire, National League, the Padres are now 3.5 games out of, the second seed, really 3 games out of the second seed behind the Dodgers. The Cubs, or the Brewers are 64 and 44. And then the Dodgers are the second division leader at 63 and 46. So if you can pass one of those two and win the division, you'd get a bye in the first round and not even have to play in the wild card series.
Yeah, it would be pretty amazing, man, for that to happen. But again, a lot needs to go right for the San Diego Padres. The guys that we got need to come in, hit the ground running, and just assimilate, to the Padres culture, which I think it's fair to say there is one now. Many, many years we've been doing this show. We didn't really know what the culture was. And I do give a lot of credit to Mike Schilt for helping install that culture. It's not lip service at all. We've talked to players, many, many players, many times about it. The market difference that exists here now, as opposed to when Jace Tingler was here, when Andy Green was here, and when Bob Melvin was here, it's substantial. It's absolutely substantial. So I think, the new guys coming in, assimilating to, let's be honest, the Padre way, right? The way that the Padres do business now is a real thing. Now it's in its infancy. We're not the Cardinals, we're not the Dodgers, the Yankees, right? But it has been installed and it is running, and it's running fairly smoothly right now. So there is a way that they do things. So I'm excited to see how the new guys, and it feels like, based on the makeup, everything I've heard about every guy that's coming, I feel like they're perfect fits. Will they come in and produce? That remains to be seen. But they are absolutely perfect fits. I don't see any square pegs here, Ben, for a round hole. I really don't.
Yeah, I agree. It was a well-crafted deadline, as expensive as it was in terms of prospects. It was a well-crafted overall plan that all came together quite well for the man of the hour, AJ Preller.
I think it's also important. Takeaway I had from yesterday was we talked a lot about how there's a lot of winnable games in September, but you're going to have to get through a pretty big gauntlet in August, some really good teams. And you still have some good teams, the Dodgers, the Mariners. Like, you have some good teams coming up this month as well. I forgot it's August 1st today. But, those easier winnable games in September just got easier with all those teams selling off. And then you got teams like the Twins, who were okay but not great. They sold everybody off. You got them at the end of this month. I think the Diamondbacks got much easier as an opponent to face next week. I'm actually shocked that they didn't trade Zach Gallen. I don't know what the hell they're thinking. That seemed a little bit odd to me, but overall, the table is set for you to go out there and take care of business now.
I did the math
quickly.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Benny. Ben, your tweet yesterday, I loved your math tweet, but I have to get this up before it's deleted. We have a lot of friends that work at Mad Friars who cover, the minor league system in the San Diego Padres. And I was texting with our pal John Conniff this morning, and I asked him straight up, how are you? How are you doing? Because these are the guys they pour their heart and soul into, that about 90% of them end up getting flipped, for other players down the road. They just sent a tweet out 3 minutes ago. This is fantastic. And I think they may be under I think they may be a little frazzled. It says, oh, and also the Padres farm system played some baseball games yesterday, and Miguel Mendez reminds us there's always more prostitutes. That and more in the daily. I'm racking my brain.
Prospects, not prostitutes. Prospects. Spell check. Autocorrect can get you every time there, Mad Friars.
Are they frazzled by the staggering amount of prospects that they have researched that have been shipped off to other teams? I think that could be it as well. A little bit frazzled over there, Mad Friars. Get it together, clean it up.
Yeah, Lefty Mendez is all of a sudden one of the more intriguing prospects remaining in the Padres system.
Should we just switch it for here and forever? They're now called prostitutes. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I don't know.
It's on AJ Preller to restock the prostitute capital that he just completely ships off every July, seemingly.
This is unbelievable. These guys are like, you sons of bitches. I could have deleted it and fixed it, and now Woodsy brought it to the airwaves. So, man, it's sorry, fellas.
That's right.
I know this is hard for you.
Just following up on Paulie, I did the math yesterday. Schedule-wise, the Padres play 32 of their remaining 53 games against teams that were significant sellers at the deadline. Doesn't mean you're winning all of those games, but you are taking on teams that are probably going to be looking at younger guys, just trying to figure out what they have and not necessarily going all out to win games the rest of the season. So that is advantageous schedule-wise. Now, I thought other than the Padres, there was actually a lot more activity and interest on the American League side at the trade deadline. Take a look at some of the other moves that happened yesterday before AJ joins us right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury.
We got some delays ahead now on the southbound 5, and that is due to a crash near exit 13A when you get off the northbound 15 and Riverside, and then northbound 5 also slowing down into 15, and that is just due to a lot of people over there. Looks like maybe some rubbernecks and people checking out what's going on the other side of the road. I'm Ian Stark with Ben and Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
AJ Preller just traded Sue Aller and Vicky Pepper for Ian there, and I mean we can't even keep
What
track.
is happening,
I was like,
right?
my goodness
Who's
gracious!
this?
Kelly goes on vacation for a day, and we're digging deep. We just called up the single A traffic guy to eat some innings here this morning.
Yeah, you got to have innings eaters. You got to have the bullpen's got to be ready, and we're building a strength. We're adding to an already strong traffic team, and came in out of the pen to close it out.
So the Padres were the most active, certainly National League team. I thought the Mets had a decent deadline. You get Cedric Mullins. They add to their bullpen with Ryan Helsley, obviously Tyler Rogers as well. So I thought the Mets did pretty well. But it was the American League that was really interesting, including the Houston Astros reacquiring Carlos Correa from the Minnesota Twins. Just looking at that Twins sell-off and going, well, he worked for us before. Let's see if we can bring him back, and getting Carlos Correa to waive his no-trade clause and agree to play third base alongside Jeremy Pena, who replaced him there, is a pretty big coup, I would say, for the Houston Astros.
I mean, it was pure salary dump. I think he said that's the only place he would go to. My heart goes out to Minnesota Twins fans today. It does. And Paulie mentioned, I think, earlier in the show, go to their Instagram feed. It's like 14 thank you messages for the players that they shipped off. And again, a lot of talent on that team and a lot of expectations. And it's got to be so disheartening if you're one of those teams that just unloads. You just unload for the future. The future is, team of the future every single year. And, Ken Rosenthal brought up the Orioles when he was lambasting Craig Breslow. And I do think the Orioles are such an interesting case study. For years I would text with the people in our organization or our, friend group that were, heavy on prospects. And I can't say that I've ever really been. And that's, maybe it's a fault of mine, maybe it's not. But talking about the Orioles that have had a really good draft, they've drafted really well, they've developed pretty well, and they had this team that everyone thought was going to just go on this massive run, this long extended window. And they didn't do it, Ben. They held on to guys, they didn't improve their team, and it's been a really rough look for those guys.
Yeah, the AL West, interesting with the Mariners picking up Suarez. The Rangers didn't sell; they picked up Merrill Kelly, and the Yankees added to their bullpen with Bednar and Doval. So some interesting moves yesterday in the AL. But hey, we got AJ Preller coming up next. We'll talk to the GM, the mastermind of all the moves next year on the Fan.
All right, my friends, we are halfway home on a Friday. Ben and Woods, 97.3. The Fan, I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Rindle, the executive producer, and Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. What a day it was yesterday. Now it's time for the aftershock of all of it. And I'd say shock is the emotion that most of us felt when it was all over yesterday. Very excited for our next guest. Ben, if you would.
Yeah, what can we say other than he did it again? It is Friar Friday, and joining us right now on 97.3 The Fan is the president of baseball operations and general manager for the San Diego Padres, and I hope he takes this as a compliment. AJ Preller, you are a madman. I mean, you're a madman. Good morning to you.
Hey, guys. Good morning.
How you doing? You feeling all right? You get a little sleep last night, finally? How much sleep did you get this week?
Yeah, the last few days, I think, for everybody in baseball is it's fun and challenging. But, yeah, it's not too much sleep the last couple nights before the trade deadline for sure.
Now, AJ, I was evacuated. I'm in Kauai right now. I was evacuated for a tsunami, and I feel like that was less stressful than maybe the last 24, 48 hours for you.
No, I mean, it's a combination, I think, with the deadline. Obviously, you've got all different possibilities that we were weighing out, and you never really know if any of these, if the deals are gonna come through. So, it's you get to points where you think you have a chance and can get excited, but you never really want to get too excited because it's hard to make trades. It's hard to line up. So, ultimately, you get done with it. I think our group is, feels good that we have a team that can win. I think we feel like the pieces fit on the team in general. And I think we're excited about the next couple of months for sure.
Talking to AJ Preller here on Ben and Woods this morning. And AJ, I got to tell you, I don't know if you were monitoring social media or if you had somebody monitoring social media, but they were coming for you yesterday, the first couple hours of the trade deadline, the torches and pitchforks. And I'm telling you, I said it in our open today. The Padre fan went through every range of emotion that they could feel yesterday, ourselves included. Getting rid of your number one prospect to get Mason Miller and JP Sears. We were shocked. And then the Freddie Fermin deal. And then, it all kind of wrapped up together at the end with the guys that you got from the Orioles. I mean, for you to move that many pieces yesterday, how insane was it? Because we will never know. We will never know actually how crazy it was. How close did some of these get to falling through?
Yeah, I mean, again, like we've worked on a lot of different scenarios and programs and plans over the couple of days. So I mean, we I think the good news is we, because of the system and the talent throughout the organization, I think we're in position to really any conversation we wanted to be in whatever direction. So I think the questions were, we came in looking to get, a left field bat, probably improve behind the plate, add to the bench, and then look at, some impact on the mound and some depth. And, not sure we could fill out all those holes. It was kind of what's the order? How does it all fill together? So I think, how it all played out yesterday, there's always a little bit of, hey, are we going to be able to do X, Y, and Z when you're trying to do two or three things? And they all kind of are tied together, similar to last year at the trade deadline. We knew we had to make multiple moves. But we went into it, knowing, hey, we have a few different plans. We weren't going to make, like the first move or two unless we felt pretty good that we were very convicted that we had a chance to line up on getting the offense better. So, I think, and our first choice was that Oriole choice. And, ultimately, it came together. There were some stressful moments for sure, just making sure that everything went through, especially, I think you're dealing with medicals, you're dealing with a lot of teams competing for the players, but, all part of, I think the big part is like being prepared. I think the hundreds of hours that you go through about the different scenarios. So we were, we knew right even up until the last few minutes of the deadline, we were like, hey, we think this is how it's going to play out. And it kind of played out that way in terms of the order and how things went down.
Well, as you just said, AJ, you have a reputation for being thorough and persistent. And I want to ask you about a report from Ken Rosenthal, and I'm not sure if he got it from A's sources or people inside the Padres. My guess it's probably on the A's side. But according to Ken yesterday, he said you called, a week or so ago about Mason Miller and were given a flat out no. There was no chance they were trading him. And then you kept calling and kept calling. And finally, eventually, we come to yesterday and you pull off a deal. What is it like? How does that work where a team just gives you a flat out no and somehow you're able to, talk them into a deal that they weren't interested in a week ago?
Yeah, I mean, and you gotta, again, like, I think in a lot of the cases we have you have a feel, obviously, through knowing teams, what they're trying to do, their personalities. You get a feel of what is going to be there, what isn't, so we're constantly, whiteboarding as a group and talking about different ideas and thoughts, but you got to be realistic. I think with the Oakland scenario, Josh Stein, our assistant GM, he was talking to Oakland for much of the last like week or two, and he just stayed on it. I think they indicated, hey, this is what we were looking for Miller. We probably didn't line up on it, but Josh, just kept going back, having conversation about a few of their players, and at the end would still kind of talk to him about Miller. And then, from my standpoint, I made a call a few days ago, and the biggest thing is they called us back in terms of, they had interest in a scenario that we had talked about. So I think, it starts with Josh kind of making those calls early and continuing to lay the groundwork, and then, getting the call back from Oakland and ultimately leading to a deal. So.
Well, kudos to you for giving Steiner a little credit there. Ben would have taken all of the credit for himself. I am sure of. AJ Preller joins us this morning, and I think, just as interesting as the pieces that we did get, are the pieces that didn't go. And of course, I'm talking about Dylan Cease and Robert Suarez. I mean, two guys at 3:00 San Diego time. I was still looking at my phone, going, "All right, man, is a deal going to trickle in?" What were the conversations with Dylan Cease like after the trade deadline ended, and you were able to tell him, "No, man, you're here at least for the rest of the season"?
I haven't talked to Dylan yet. I mean, I think I talked to Dylan right, day or two before, the day before the deadline, and just told him exactly where we were at. And honestly, I think with Dylan, and the same thing with the bullpen pieces. We got those were incoming calls. And you're always obviously going to take the calls and hear what people have to say at this time of year. Make sure you're not leaving anything out there that can help the team and for now or the future. But I just told Dylan the day before, he's been through this before. He's been in the game a long time. I mean, it's a big compliment to him that people have a lot of interest, and he understood that. But he also I was very clear with him. Schulte, myself, Ruben. Our best chance is with Dylan Cease. We see him as a front of the rotation pitcher, a guy that can pitch a playoff game and win playoff games. And you want to be honest with guys and explain, hey, this is exactly where you stand. I think he knew that going into yesterday, and I think we're super excited with the team we have and with Dylan as a main part of the rotation.
AJ, I know we don't want to give the Dodgers too much credit for anything, but what they did last year against you guys and other teams in deploying their bullpen in the playoffs, is that at all a model for what you guys might be able to do if you get to October, in which you have games and empty the bullpen a little bit earlier than you'd expect, or even go with more bullpen games and only ask a couple of innings out of a starter, even a guy like Dylan Cease? Is that part of perhaps the plan?
I mean, I think the idea is, you win a championship, you want to be as complete a team as possible, and you've got to be able to win games a lot of different ways. And I think for us, you see Darvish's outing, the day before the deadline. Hopefully, Michael is on the mound here, King, in a few days as well, and over the course of the next couple of weeks, he's back at Petco. I think we have a chance to be a complete team, and a team that can beat you all kinds of different ways, from the offensive side, on the base pass. Talk about a team that from an outfield defense standpoint now, throwing arms, with Laureano, Merrill, and Toddy, probably three of the best in the game. A defensive minded catcher with Fermin. And then a pitching staff that I think Schulte, Ruben can deploy any way they want. So. And like you mentioned, one of those may be to go out and use a bullpen that's been tremendous so far in the first 100 games, gave us a lot of confidence to make these moves. Hopefully have a chance to get early leads and then end the games, with a deep bullpen. So that was the idea behind the last couple of days and over the last few months. And, Schulte and his group have put us in a position to be motivated to make those moves for sure.
Talking to AJ Preller, Padres president of baseball ops, here on Ben and Woods this morning. And what a day yesterday for Padres fans. And I wanted to talk a little bit for a second about Freddie Fermin, because when I saw that deal go through, I went, oh no, I love Ryan Berger. What a dog that kid has been. Kansas City really getting a good one. You run immediately, you look up Freddie Fermin's stats, and you go, oh, this feels like an overpay from the Padres. That being said, I read a couple of threads, talked to some media in Kansas City, and I went, oh, okay. This guy seemingly is ready to take that next step. What did you guys see in Freddie Fermin? Again, a guy none of the pundits mentioned Freddie Fermin to the Padres.
Yeah, I mean, he's a guy that over the years our scouting group, has continued to bring up as an underrated player. Got to just a winning, you talk about winning guys, glue guys in different sports, especially at that position. And he's a guy that repeatedly the Royals have not wanted to move or deal, but the Royals have built up some catching depth. So for us, we always take note of that where there's some depth in positional depth in different organizations. I remember we talked about with Cronenworth when the Rays had a glut of middle infielders at the time. So, we make sure we're aware of that. And, a guy that Schulte had mentioned over the years, hey, if we can get to Fermin, I'd love to do it. And over the last couple of days, again, it's a real price. Berger and Stephen Kolek. It's hard to have young pitchers that look like they could be young starting pitchers in the big leagues. We felt like we had, and we talked about it in the system. We feel like we came into this trade deadline with a really strong system, top to bottom, and a lot of pitching depth. And I think for Berger and Kolek, they're going to go on and get opportunity, and they're going to be good big league pitchers. But needing that catcher, and specifically Fermin, like you guys mentioned, when we're sitting there and digging and starting to get into it, not just like good reports, but like glowing reports about what he means to the Royals pitching staff, the organization, the pitchers. And we had a lot of debate about some offensive minded catchers that were on the board versus Fermin, and ultimately we're super excited to line up on Freddie and glad to have him with us.
Honestly, based on the people I talked to in Kansas City, I'm surprised they let him go. They loved that guy, and I'm excited to see him as in a Padres uniform. Now, we hadn't heard about Fermin, but we did talk actually about Ramon Laureano and Ryan O'Hearn as guys the Padres might target, but we always framed it as which one would you want to get? And AJ, you went and just got both of them. What was the thinking there in terms of being aggressive in adding not one bat, but two bats that you can add to your lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think we knew with the composition of our team, like right and left-handed, helping in left field. I think we felt like we were looking at multiple bats, and I think for us to put Boston Bateman in the deal, we needed to get both players back. So we weren't going to do Boston in any kind of rental situation, so from our standpoint. I think for us that was kind of the big part of the deal was if we were going to talk about one of the better left-hand pitching prospects in our organization and in the game, we needed to get both pieces and kind of round out the offense. And we just love the fit in terms of, I mentioned Laureano can play, all three outfield, but definitely the two corner spots, and is obviously having a great year. Two guys that are having all-star type seasons. O'Hearn, on the all-star team, and a guy that gives you quality at bats, and you kind of pair with Sheets and Arise and others in left field, first base, and DH. We should have weapons on the bench now for Mike to deploy. You can rest, players or player every night, and still have a very competitive lineup. And I think with Ramon too, you have an option year for next year. So it's hard to make these deals and have them for players that are with you for just the 1 year. But at least we have an opportunity to have some carry forward value. And I think getting both offensive pieces is a big key for us to make that move.
I think that was the trade, AJ, that swayed the entire city. That was, oh my God, I can't believe it. What's he doing? Blah, blah, blah. And then that comes across and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is the totality of the trade deadline for Padres fans. I had to ask you this too, because, we don't even really like talking about it because none of us want it to happen. But, there's a pending doom kind of hanging over baseball with the lockout potentially coming after next season. Does that play into your go for it mentality? I mean, I think I know the answer because I've covered you for a while. You kind of always want to go for it. But when you look down the road and say, this is the time. I mean, we may not even be playing these games in a year and a half.
I mean, we're always aware of like what the landscape is for the next 3 years. Myself, John Seiler, Eric Rubner, we talked about it at different points in time in this deadline. But I think it's hard to predict what's going to happen with with the labor situation and in the 27 season. So I think for us, it's more about like the organization landscape, the baseball landscape in terms of looking at our team this year, having an opportunity to win a championship, which is the idea. We have a fan base that is as supportive as any in the game, and loves this team and comes out to Petco every night. And I think from our standpoint, it's never about we've talked about it. It's about like being consistent year after year after year. And we did the rebuild and the load up from 2016 to 19 with the idea that every year in this decade, from Peter and Ron, they talked about we want to be competitive and we want to go into September, October with a team that the fans feel like can get to the postseason and then win in the postseason. And there's been some very good moments. There's been some moments where we haven't played well down the stretch, or in 23 never really fired at all in that season. But every year we feel like we've had a team here that can win. And it's we didn't look at this the last few days as like because of a labor situation, or really because of anything that, hey, this is this is 1 year. It's like, no, we liked, having Mason Miller for 4+ years. We liked having JP Sears for multiple years, having the flexibility with Laureano, getting O'Hearn to a team that's shown a lot, having Fermin for 4+ years. So, I think for us, Will Wagner, another young bat that we've been looking at for 6-8 months now. I think for us, they weren't moves just designed towards the next 3 months. They had, a team that's shown that we can win a championship this year, and then, have carry forward value. And that's really what we look at all the time.
Well, you know what's going to happen next, AJ. Everyone's happy today, but in a couple of weeks, you're going to go, yeah, can we get Ryan O'Hearn signed to an extension at this point? You know what? I won't make you get into that at this point. I'll just say.
Well, I never really listened to you guys, but on the way to basketball this morning, I listened to your opening, and
it was terrible.
And Dan, you want to talk about half empty? Ben went full empty on us to start the show. That put me in the slump, I think. So, yeah.
How do you think we felt?
You shot poorly this morning.
We celebrate titles, not trade deadlines, AJ. We
So,
celebrate championships, not trade deadlines.
I'm so embarrassed.
Awful.
And I can't believe it. I really can't believe it, AJ. Again, I apologize. I was excited. But yeah, it was like your mom walking in on you
this morning. I knew it.
Yeah, you knew it was. Sorry about that. I thought you did a great job personally, and most of the fan base did as well. But apparently, it wasn't enough for old Ben Higgins.
Point. We're ready to get on the field tonight. Go play. Let Chilty and the guys do their thing. But yeah, it was turning on the radio today. And I was ready to get a little bit fired up, get amped up. 5:45, 6 in the morning. Yeah, and then Ben set the tone. So see what happens tonight.
God. Oh my God.
I'm speechless, honestly.
I am speechless as well.
You know what?
I'm speechless.
I am pretty high on actually all these moves, AJ. So
totally,
I will say good job. And
sounds like it.
And you already have legendary status, but you just cemented it on this show. I'm sure I'll never hear the end of this. I will never hear the end of this.
Well, we'll see. Again, we're ready to get back at it tonight. Appreciate you guys for having me. And
it's our pleasure. It's at least it's AJ. It's my pleasure and Paul's pleasure.
I remain skeptical as always. Thank you, AJ. As always, appreciate it,
buddy.
AJ Preller, there he is, general manager and president of baseball operations, and of course, tier 1 of the Ben and Woods program from the Open. The one Open I probably didn't want him to listen to is the one he's listening to.
He just said he doesn't listen to us much, and
he's always busy. I mean.
That's when he tunes in. He tunes in for that.
He probably wasn't the only one. I'm sure we had a lot of people tuning in yesterday. I know that. I'm sure we had a lot of new people tuning in today. I got to hear what this show is going to talk about, how they're going to react to everything from yesterday. Just, man.
I don't have words, and that's rare for me. I don't have words.
Oh, you've never been happier in your life. That's how that turned out.
Words. Ooh, sounds like it is the quote of the year. It sounds like it. Oh my God. Oh my God. Well,
wow.
What a legendary moment on Ben and Woods that just was.
All right, we will take a quick timeout. We'll come back. If you heard some good news about Michael King in that interview as well, we're going to push back Take on Woods into our final hour so we can react to what you just heard from AJ Preller after some traffic here. Don't go anywhere. Ben and Woods continuing on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Luckily, though, first, I'll talk about sdfatloss.com. At least I'm smaller, so I can hide behind something a little bit better than I used to be able to after those comments from AJ Preller. 2 summers ago, I lost 40 pounds in 60 days, and the big news now is that I've kept the weight off for 2 full years, thanks to the sustainable tactics and strategies set up at sdfatloss.com. I lost the weight fast, but keeping the weight off, that's the key. And because it was based on real foods and not prepackaged meals, that for me was the absolute difference. I had done the shakes and bars plans before and lost some weight, but I always gained it right back because it was so hard to go back to regular food. You're never changing. You're still eating regular food with sdfatloss.com. And for me, it made all the difference in the world. Find out how it can work for you by getting a free consultation now at sdfatloss.com. Take advantage of their summer sale. Get 20% off this summer and start the program when you're ready, right now or in a couple of weeks, whenever it is. No injections, no surgery, no hormones or drugs. It is simply realistic, natural weight loss based on real foods, up to a pound of fat per day and 10 to 20% of your body weight in just 60 days. Find out how, again, at sdfatloss.com. That's sdfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the Players' Place.
Welcome back to Woods and Paul on 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, you've been traded.
Traded, yes.
To the Baltimore Orioles. You're the player to be named later, the radio host to be named later.
Hopefully AG doesn't have access to the contracts here. I might be on my way out this morning. Ooh.
That was rough. To bring it up at the end.
He's an assassin. I mean, he could not have picked a better time. Also known as a worse time for me, just to drop that right at the end of the interview. I mean, he didn't do it at the beginning to spin me out. He waited for maximum effect right at the end.
Hey, so lesson learned. The next time I ask you to do a guttural scream, you do it.
Apparently
no questions.
so. Okay.
It's like my kids, man. They just don't listen. That's what we had an issue with yesterday. They just don't listen. And it's never, I try to tell them all the time, I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm not trying to be mean. But when I ask you to do something, you do it. And there it is, our GM listening, our president of baseball ops listening this morning, wanting to feel that validation, from Ben and Woods this morning, hoping to get it and just see what do people actually think. And you took your pants off and you took a big dump all over it. And he was listening to it. And it was incredible. Incredible.
Well, you know what? Someone's got to do it, right? Someone's got to be the voice of skepticism in San Diego.
We don't. It's never been you. It's never been you. Be who you are at the end of the day is what I always say. Don't try to be Skip Bayless. Okay? Be Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Occasional turd polisher. I'm just blown away. I'm blown away that he got you like that. And he's gotten me before, and it doesn't feel good. Believe you me, it does not feel good, man.
The guy knows how to dish it out. There's no doubt about it. But I think, you know what? As a GM, he's taken it from a lot of people for a lot of years and still standing tall after a decade plus doing this job. And doing pretty high on actually all these moves, AJ. So
totally.
I will say good job. And
sounds like it.
Just
I knew exactly. I could tell exactly what was coming after that. Sounds like it.
Yeah, people got really. The trade deadline brings out the worst in some people. I mean, I got yesterday when I tweeted tweeted about that Ryan Berger, Stephen Kolek trade for Freddie Fermin, and I said, I don't understand this. I really don't. Thinking, we've got controllable arms there that not only can help us and have helped us this year, but certainly in years to come. And I said, I don't understand this move. It really doesn't make sense to me. It feels like a light return. And again, that's before I'd done my research on Freddie Fermin and read all the things that I read and heard all the great, praise about him, and realized, he's been mentored by Salvi Perez and is really ready to take the next step. I didn't really get all that. So I said, I'm confused. And a guy wrote back, he said, you don't know anything about baseball. And I said, oh, okay, well, you follow me. And he said, no, I don't. And he unfollowed me. Then he said, join a gym, fatty. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that's a weird.
Woods already pays for like 5 gyms already.
Correct. I belong to several gyms. I have a personal trainer. I mean, I've been really working hard. I've hit some personal goals this year physically, in the gym. So I don't know, man. It brings out the worst. And then we just got this. You guys are so soft and predictable. Seriously, I knew you wouldn't ask him about letting Kolek and Berger go.
I knew it.
But I'm like, were you listening to the interview? Because I literally asked him about it. So I don't know, man. You're never going to please everyone all the time, but I don't know. It brings out some really, really weird folks, man. Really weird folks.
Good stuff though from AJ Preller. Did kind of drop in. Michael King set to return here. Specifically, he said here on the mound again this weekend. We knew that was going to pitch another simulated game, I believe, or a minor league rehab start this weekend, and hopefully, he said, back on the mound at Petco Park within the next couple of weeks. So that's really good news. I know, it's not a trade deadline move per se, but getting Michael King back into the starting rotation really does a huge lift for the Padres down the stretch if that is what happens.
Well, it is. It's a massive lift, and this should be a massive lift to you. Your brother, who plays basketball with AJ, texted us and said, I didn't go, but I heard AJ was on fire at hoops. So no worries, big bro. So you did not actually put him in a slump.
You think I can get in his head? No one can get in that guy's head.
You're right,
He's impenetrable.
You're right. You are absolutely right. I wonder, again, I wonder if he feels anything, much less disappointment by the morning show. So again, he went off. He did his thing this morning. Got his, that's his surfing. That's his golf. That's what he does to clear his head. And again, probably hit a triple double today. So don't worry about it.
He did admit though yesterday was stressful, which he rarely does. But he admitted, he had to address the offense and other things. So to pull off the Miller deal first, they had to kind of forecast how everything was going to go the rest of the day. And sounds like it really did play out the way the Padres were at least hoping it would play out over the course of the day, because it really could not have gone more smoothly. You got to get all those moves done in a span of about 6 hours. And, you got to trust that, okay, we're doing this now. Hopefully it doesn't mean that I can't do this later because I just traded a guy I was going to need to pull off the next deal, but they were able to get him done. I thought the part where he said they would not have traded Boston Bateman unless they got both Laureano and O'Hearn. Shows you how much they thought of Bateman as a left-handed pitching prospect, and that was the key to that deal, was to make sure that they got both of those guys back, because he really feels like it gives the Padres some versatility in their lineup coming down the stretch here and in the playoffs with righty-lefty matchups. Makes the Padres much less vulnerable to other pitchers going forward.
Yeah, I agree, man. And again, I'll go back to a tweet that I think I read in the Open. The Open was such a weird, I'd like to forget it as soon as this show is over. But our friend Laura tweeted this. Padre fangirl said, I've been told we gave away the farm, but like every year for the last 3 years, how are we giving away a farm we already gave away? And I think that it's such a brilliant, poignant thought, because we hear this all the time. And I saw it again yesterday. And how many times must he replenish the farm for us to believe that he has the ability to replenish the farm to then make the moves that he feels are necessary to win a title? And granted, we have not won that title yet. So until it happens, everyone will question his method. And, but I'll tell you, there's probably 27 other teams in baseball that would take that man as their GM today. Absolutely take that man as their GM and say, we'll sign up for that ride, because teams don't move guys they should. Teams, hang on to guys too long. They move too many guys, whatever it may be. Not saying A.J. Preller is perfect by any stretch, because he's not. There is no World Series ring yet. That being said, we are in a position to do it almost every single year the last 5-6 years. And that's really, other than winning the World Series, that's kind of what you ask for. We're in the fight.
Well, there is someone in addition to A.J. Preller who deserves a lot of credit, and I don't think we've really talked about him, and not a lot of fans have talked about him as well, but I want to get to that coming up. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll come back rest of this hour, get back to more trade deadline reaction as well with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Quickly, gang, we will be back in town in about, I think, a week from yesterday. And first thing I'm doing, you think I'm laughing. You think I'm joking. I'm not. I'm filling up my water bottle with my Eco Water. It's the thing I miss the most when I'm out of town. That and my cats is the Eco Water system that we got put in our house. It's been a revelation for us. You can get it in your home, too. You can get a free in-home water test today just by calling 760-350-3338. Or going to ecowatersocal.com. Have them come out, do a water test for you. You will be amazed at what you're bathing your kids in, what you're washing your food in. There's not a lot of good stuff in there, guys. Eco Water will filter it all out, give you the best bottled water, quality water that you have ever had. Everybody I've given it to. We had some out at our golf tournament a couple of years ago. People said, man, you really can taste the difference. So Eco Water, it's no joke. Call 760-350-3338 again, or go to ecowatersocal.com. Try the Soft Life and alkaline water, now just $9.95 a month. Make sure to tell them that Woodsy from 97.3 The Fan, Ben and Woods, sent you over there. Not everything in life should be hard, especially your water. They've been keeping it soft since 1925. And remember, Eco Water, your water should be perfect.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
A deadline brought to you by Palomar Health, champions of healthcare, champions for you. And yeah, AJ Preller deserves a ton of credit for what he was able to pull off yesterday. But the one guy who we really haven't mentioned yet, and I think a lot of questions were out there leading up to the trade deadline, is John Seidler, who did not put the clamps on AJ Preller, did not, force him to shed salary to make moves at the deadline. And in fact, the Padres did add on payroll. The estimates are somewhere around $4 to $5 million in extra payroll at the deadline, plus some luxury tax penalties that in the end will probably total about $6 million more. So, the last couple of weeks, we've been seeing a lot of stories about, financials are very important here, and they're going to have to, take a couple of guys off the major league, probably trade Suarez and or Cease to save some money so they can do anything and add to their offense. But in the end, that didn't turn out to be true. The Padres did not, lose a single dollar really in these deals. And they added, a good little chunk of money, not millions and millions of dollars in the future, but, a couple of guys that are going to cost a little bit more down the stretch and a little bit extra due to the luxury tax, but they were willing to do that. And John Seidler gets some credit for kind of carrying on his brother's legacy, and he wants to be aggressive and go for the win when he sees the brass ring within reach for the Padres.
Yeah, no question. And I was definitely told and saw a lot of different opinions on that. And hey, at the end of the day, it speaks loudest as to what they were able to accomplish yesterday. Like you said yesterday, Benny, this team has constraints, as does every team. And you saw some of the biggest spending teams, the teams that are most replete with prospects and cash, essentially stand pat. There was a lot of teams that, teams like the Cubs that are in full go for it mode, that didn't do much to improve their roster. The LA Dodgers didn't do much. The Yankees added a couple of back-end bullpen guys, but they didn't address everything they needed to address either. And, a lot of credit goes due to AJ Preller for getting, being so creative and being willing to part with some of the guys that he parted with, knowing full well, all right, I'm just going to have to do what I've done. Is it a sustainable model? I mean, look, it's working for him in the fact that the interest in this team has never been higher. They have not won the World Series yet, but he's putting them in a position. And again, at some point, it falls on the players to go out and win a World Series. So they got all the help, in my opinion, that they need at this point. And if they stay healthy, yes, we are a legitimate contender.
So good problems are still, problems. And I would think that Mike Schilt will have a bit of a problem trying to figure out how to deploy all these new weapons and riches that he has. Now, very good problem for any manager to have. So how is he going to stack his lineup, perhaps starting tonight? We've got like a mock-up from MLB Network, what they think. We can talk about it after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury.
This game day traffic report is brought to you by Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water. Got some slowdowns on the 8 on the westbound side, right at the 163. Some debris in the roadway. It takes out the left lane. And then just after that, right at the 805 on that connector road, somebody broke down, and that's going to slow you down. What makes Crystal Geyser Alpine Spring Water different? We always bottle our Alpine Spring Water less than 1.5 miles from the spring source. And all our bottles are made with 50% recycled plastic from our own recycling plants. Crystal Geyser, bottled at the spring source. I'm Sue Aller with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
So, Woods, I think there's a couple of different ways Mike Schilt can go. And he can either really try to maximize his hottest and best hitters in the lineup, or he can try to go for consistency and not mess with the guys that he already had. What's the MLB Network guys? What do they think for their projected lineup?
Let's see. The Padres lineup is looking stacked after a busy trade deadline. Leading off, playing right field, Fernando Tatis Jr., first base, Luis Arraez, Manny Machado at third, Jackson Merrill in center, Xander Bogaerts at short, Ryan O'Hearn DH, left field, Ramon Laureano, second base, Jake Cronenworth, and catching, Freddie Fermin. Which, again, you look at it and go, okay, that means Gavin Sheets to the bench, potentially. Now, if it's a right-handed starter on the bump, yeah, you can get a little bit more creative. Gavin Sheets has proven himself that he can go out and play a pretty decent left field, so you could get O'Hearn and Sheets in the same lineup, Laureano coming off the bench. Look, man, they look good against righties. They look good against lefties, depending on what matchup Schilt wants to play. He's got some pieces now.
Yeah,
really. He's got some pieces.
So I think against a righty, I like that lineup for sure. Against a lefty, I may want to move Laureano up a little bit further, like tonight.
Yeah,
like 7
no
seems
question.
a little low. The guy is having an amazing season, and you could probably comfortably get him in the top 5, even top 4 of your order if you wanted to go that way. But that would mean moving down one of your guys at your top of your order. Would Jackson Merrill move back down? Would you move Luis Arraez down against a lefty in order to get Ramon Laureano some more at-bats early in the game against the left-handed starter? We should find out right away tonight with Matthew Liberator, the lefty, going for the St. Louis Cardinals in the opening to this series. How is Mike Schilt going to try to construct that lineup to maximum effect with his new toys that he gets to play with in his lineup tonight?
I'm excited for him. I'm excited for Tatis, who called on the front office to get them some help. You got it. You got the help that you needed. Manny Machado, always interested in adding pieces to try to win a World Series. Now you've got him. I mean, really no excuses at this point. Got to go out and try to do it, man. And super excited to see how these new guys fit in with this squad, what they look like. It's always exciting. I mean, always exciting. I can remember being excited about almost every player that we've added over the last few years. I was excited to get Brandon Drury at the time, and hit that grand slam in his first game with the Padres. That was nuts. And so excited to see how these guys impact it tonight. And Nicky P on the bump, you got to be feeling pretty good about it, but it is baseball. It is baseball. Go out and lose 6-1. It happens all the time. But man, I like our chances going forward much more than I did yesterday.
I do remember the atmosphere after the deadline 2 years ago was unbelievable. I was there that night. It was actually Brandon Drury who had the big home run, the grand slam in that game. But adding Juan Soto, and you took an electric Petco Park and you just amplified it by about 50. I feel like you're going to get that sort of feeling again this weekend at Petco Park The ovation for some of the new guys, just the excitement for the guys who are already in the lineup and seeing it go up on the scoreboard. Like, wow. I mean, it went from a bottom of the order that was one of the worst in baseball. And now that projected, just that one you said, I mean, an O'Hearn, Laureano, Cronenworth, Fermin bottom four. It's night and day compared to what they were yesterday before the trade deadline.
Truly. I mean, truly night and day.
Right.
And,
it was Bryce Johnson, Jose Iglesias, Martin Maldonado at the bottom of the order, something like that. And now Iglesias, I mean, what a perfect bench piece he can become. Plus, whoever's not in the starting lineup, whether it's Gavin Sheets or you give any of these other guys a day, you're going to be able to pull one of those guys off the bench as well. So, you've got multiple pitch hitters, probably from both sides of the plate, that you can deploy against any sort of reliever. It really handcuffs the opposing manager going, hey, I can bring in a lefty here. Oh, wait, hold on. They got Xander Bogaerts coming off the bench today because he's getting a day. So you really have neutralized a lot of the advantages that other skippers had really taken advantage of the Padres this year.
Those lanes just got a little tighter for opposing managers, the lanes that we always talk about. So, man, I'm fired up for 3:40 my time.
All right, and we still haven't really talked about the future implications, but the Padres do have, as AJ said, a lot of control over some of the guys that they landed. We'll get to that. We got a round of report and more, all coming up. Final hour of Ben and Woods next year on The Fan. So while AJ Preller may have left the minor league cabinet fairly bare going forward, on the major league level, Woods, these trades actually bolster the Padres for the next couple of years to come. And I look at what is, contractually locked in for next season, and you can already put a lineup on the field, even if you don't re-sign Luis Ariz, who is going to be a free agent. I'm assuming the Padres will pick up the very friendly $6 million club option for Ramon Laureano. It's one of the reasons I'm sure that they included it. So you've got an outfield now coming back of Laureano, Merrill, and Tatis.
Yep.
You've got your infield with Manny, of course, Xander. You've got Jake Cronenworth. And you could put Gavin Sheets at first if you wanted, and then Freddie Fermin behind the plate. So you actually already now have a team in 2026 locked in before you make a single offseason move or address any of your free agents that might be departing. Now, yeah, you'll need a bench, you'll need some other things, but it's not a bad place to start going into next season based on who you now have already locked up for 2026.
No, and remember, JP Sears is under control.
Okay, so pitching wise,
plan with Mason.
So pitching wise is now the bullpen is loaded going into next season. Got another year of, even if Robert Suarez leaves, now you've got Mason Miller under control. You've got another year of Jason Adam. You've got Jeremiah Estrada still under control. You've got another year of Adrian Morejon. So just starting right there. You've got David Morgan obviously coming back. You still did not trade away Bradley Rodriguez, who we've seen in the minor leagues. Sean Reynolds. I mean, you still have plenty of bullpen options and what looks like a really good bullpen. Now, the starting rotation is a little more dicey going forward, but let's cross our fingers that Joe Musgrove comes back healthy and Yu Darvish remains, effective and healthy for another season after how good he looked in his last start. You've got Nick Pivetta for another start. Randy Vasquez, of course, has been really, really good. And now you have JP Sears. So you do have the makings already of a five-man starting rotation going into next year as well. Now, the depth in the starting rotation is a concern after this year because Nestor Cortez, he's a rental. You would need to sign someone like that coming back. There's not a lot of guys in AAA or even AA at this point that you would think are ready to be called up. So starting pitching depth is certainly something that the Padres will have to look at. And, of course, they can explore the possibility of converting Mason Miller or another reliever into a starter as well. Maybe Sean Reynolds. They might look at that in the offseason. But that is the one area. But, I mean, every team going into next season has a number of areas on the roster that they're going to need to address. And the Padres, I would say, have surprisingly few based on the guys who are locked up for next year already.
Yeah, I mean, it's what made yesterday even better than just helping out this current iteration of the San Diego Padres is knowing, there's a lot of control left, and that's really the sweet spot for a GM. Can you help this team win this season whilst also being prepared for next? And again, a bang up job when you look at what AJ Preller was able to do yesterday. We'll see how it all plays out on the field, obviously, but every need that you had was addressed and then some. And as he mentioned in the interview we did with him, multiple years of control. It's just so valuable for these guys. So really excited, really, really excited, really optimistic. But listen, nothing is promised to anybody. Still got to go out and play really, really good baseball down the stretch. And excited to see how this thing plays out. Very, very thrilled.
Now, AJ did talk about shortening the game, especially, in a playoff game by deploying that bullpen that he has put together. And I brought it up in the roundtable yesterday. Wanted to see what you had to say about it, Woods. And that is you're trying to figure out a way, now that Dylan Cease is still on this team, of getting him back to being Dylan Cease. And I don't know that he is ever going to be Dylan Cease, who gives you 8 shutout innings, at least this year for the San Diego Padres. But he's been effective the first time through the order, and then he's run into trouble. Do you see a scenario where they could employ, like Dylan Cease is basically, like a 3+ inning starter and just say, hey, you've got the shortest of leashes. Go out there, empty the tank, give us 2-3 innings, and then we will just turn things over to an unending string of guys who throw absolute gas for the next 5.5 innings to finish this game out. Is that Is that a viable way to use Dylan Cease in the postseason?
In the postseason, no question about it. To get through the rest of the regular season, you are going to still need some length from guys, right? You're going to have to see, because you do have Michael King coming back off an injury. How's he going to react? You had one really good start from you, Darvish. Will he continue that? Nick Pavetta's been a dog all year. Not really worried about Nicky P. And Randy Vasquez, they don't really let him go through the third time in the order anyway. So you do have to be judicious about how you use all of these pieces, because again, saving them for October, you don't want to save them for October, but you got to get to October, hopefully go after the division, but not at the expense of that bullpen every single night.
Well, AJ did hint at that in his press conference as well yesterday. Not necessarily saving them for October. Yeah, in October, you may go absolutely just a string of Estrada, Morejon, Miller, Adam, Suarez, and you empty them all in the same game. But in the regular season, AJ said, you may have like little pods. Like we may have an Estrada, Morejon, Suarez day, and we may have an Adam, Miller, Morgan day, and they can all alternate and have more time off by kind of being your different setup and closers over the rest of this season to make sure no one gets overused in the last 2 months of the year.
I think it's massively important. And, those guys, once they get to the postseason, their number could be called at any time. It could be called in the third inning, to stop a rally that somebody is having right now, to just tamp it down and see if you can win that ball game. So honestly, thinking about it makes my skin, makes the hair on my arm stand up about how good this team could potentially be going down the stretch. But again, there's a lot of games left to play. Got to make sure everyone stays healthy. Got to make sure that they're used properly. If I'm Mike Schild, yeah, man, it's a really, really good thing, but it's a whole new set of conversations that he's going to be having to have on a daily basis with Fritzy and Ruben and all those guys, man. It's going to be cool to see. And if it works, it's going to be pretty nasty.
I want to clarify something, because I did start the show by at least, I am a skeptic, I think, at heart, but I'm not a doomer. And I think there is a difference between being a skeptic and a doomer. I like to see someone go out and show me something and prove it. Like I want to see it with my own eyes. But there are some doomers in our chat, and they've been called out this morning. I've been following along a little bit on our YouTube stream. And one of them, Ben, who was in there taking a lot of guff from the tier one, said, I don't know about this lineup. I still think they could get shut out for 22 straight innings. And I don't share that skepticism. I look at the lineup that AJ has put together, and it feels pretty bulletproof. I mean, any team can get shut out on any day by a nasty pitcher who comes out, but it feels like what AJ has put together is so well constructed that it feels like they're going to be able to put runs on the board the rest of this season in the playoffs. Do you agree with me?
I know better than to speak on it. Honestly, I'll knock on wood and say, yeah. I mean, the guys you got have had really, really good seasons this year and seem to be a natural fit. And I do think it's really important to reiterate a point that we made earlier, in that this team didn't necessarily need a savior. They didn't need a savior. They didn't need one big power bat. We need some help offensively. And I really like the fit, the makeup of what they added, the people that they added, right? Like they did exactly what we really dreamed on them doing. I didn't think it was possible, and he did it. He really, really did it. And again, the results are going to speak the loudest, Benny, but this wasn't we need Juan Soto at the deadline to put this team over the top. It's like, no, we've got guys heating up and having good seasons, albeit inconsistent at times, but that's not uncommon in baseball. Nobody stays hot for 162. They just don't. Even Shohei Ohtani struck out 4 times the other night. It happens. So,
when you talk about the 24 scoreless, I thought last year's lineup was pretty damn good there in the end in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Until they weren't. That was a good lineup that had won a lot of games. We felt really good about that lineup, pretty much top to bottom, career years from guys like Higgy and Profar, and they still went scoreless for 24. It just sometimes happens. It happened to be at the worst time of the year last year.
I do think, though, when you said that.
I like the pieces.
When you said that no one has to be a savior that's coming in, like Ryan O'Hearn or Ramon Laureano, I think I add to that, though, you also take away the burden from the guys who are already here. Because Manny kind of had to be the savior all year long. I mean, they just wouldn't be here if he wasn't, putting the team on his back as much as he has. And now all of them, I think Tatis and Manny and Bogarts, they can all, and Arise, they can all play more freely, knowing that if we don't do something in the first 5 in the lineup, we don't have to wait, 2 more innings for another chance to score. We can score in any inning, and I may get up I may go over, we may go 1, 2, 3 in the first inning, but I may get up in the second inning as we bat around because we've got such a deep lineup now. I think it takes so much pressure off the rest of the Padres, the ones that were already here, that's what makes a huge difference.
No question. There's no question about it, man. And I'm just thrilled to see how this thing looks and works. And again, I just based on everything I read yesterday about the makeup of the people that are coming to San Diego, really easy guys to root for, every single one of them. So that makes me happy as well. Don't have to do any mental gymnastics, about any of these guys. So, which, that's great. It's absolutely great. And, hopefully they just continue to do what they've been doing all season long. I know, different team, different ballpark, different league for some of these guys, but holy cow. I mean, this is really, really good stuff from AJ Preller and his whole team.
And I will say, Paulie, I went back and looked at the box scores of those last couple of games for the Padres in the playoffs against the Dodgers. And I mean, we all felt good about the lineup, but at the same time, Jerks and Profar had fallen off a cliff at the end of the year and stopped hitting. You were relying a lot on Kyle Higashioka did his job, but you were requiring a career backup catcher. You've now added a starting catcher. You had at least a David Peralta or a Donovan Solano starting almost every single game. One of them in those lineups.
To be clear, I think this lineup is better than that lineup.
That's what I think too. Xander Bogaerts was scuffling at that point.
I'm saying we felt
now.
Good. We were confident in that lineup. We'd seen him do it the whole second half of the year. I think this lineup has at least on paper, they got to play a game first. Like, we'll see what it looks like tonight. And talk about it on Monday morning. But like on paper, this roster, this lineup looks better than last year.
Yeah, and if Tatis and Machado and Merrill all go over like they did in the last game of the season last year, you're not going to put 12 runs on the board. But I do think you have a much better chance of scoring consistently with this lineup compared to the one that you had at the end of last season. As good as that one was, I do think, like Paulie just said, this lineup is now better than the one the Padres had at the end of last year.
Yeah, no doubt. Are you guys going? Tonight?
I think I might have to try to go after all that has been done. I kind of want to see it with my own eyes.
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm very happy to be where I am.
I'm anchoring the news,
cow.
so I can't go for the whole game, but maybe I can sneak out for at least a couple innings and see what it sounds like with my own ears, because I'm very excited about what tonight's going to bring for the Padres.
It's going to be bananas. Petco's going to be insane. And again, we've seen this before, right? We've seen, San Diego being the epicenter of baseball after the trade deadline. Can they get that final piece, which is postseason success? So, they really have the players to get it done. They really, really do in all facets. So very, very stoked.
All right, let's take a timeout. We do have some Take on Woods to play, a little delayed, but if you'd like to be our contestant, it's going to come with a bonus, because our contestant is also going to win our tickets to Heart today. 833-288-0973.
Nice.
You can play, try to qualify for the trip to Las Vegas. Either way, though, you're going to win tickets to see Heart at Pechanga Arena coming up. We'll give you all the details. Call now, 833-288-0973. Get to some Take on Woods when we come back here after traffic on 97.3 The Fan. First, though, Woods and I want to tell you about Trust and Will. It's the place we went to earlier this year when we both realized we're about to hit 50 without any estate planning whatsoever. It's so easy to put it off and think, I'll take care of it next year. I don't need to worry about it yet. I'm only in my 40s. It doesn't matter. You don't know what's going to happen, and you're going to start worrying that you haven't done it yet. And Trust and Will Woods makes it so easy to handle these estate documents. If you knew how easy it was, you would have done it already.
Yeah, pretty embarrassing that I waited this long. I love my family very much, very proud family man. And here I was totally neglecting my family if something happened to me, which is, the way I lived my life before, it was actually fairly likely something was going to happen. Weird things happened to me. So wanted to make sure I was all taken care of and the family was taken care of. Go to trustandwill.com. Use the code FAN when you check out, FAN, and they're going to give you 20% off your estate documents, 20% off of the whole deal, and ship you your estate documents for free.
You were nearly taken out by a tsunami this week. I bet
really
you did
was.
not see that coming for sure.
I did not.
Hey,
I did not. You just don't know.
Plan for the future. It's very easy. It's very affordable. And again, use that code FAN. Get 20% off your estate documents and free shipping by going to trustandwill.com. That's trustandwill.com.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Only 3 games in Major League Baseball yesterday. I pity the teams that had to follow along the trade deadline while they were also playing a game. Let's see.
Kidding.
The big dumper, Cal Raleigh, hit his 42nd home run of the season. That's an all-time record for a switch-hitting catcher. The Mariners won. The Yankees beat the Rays 7-4. And in one of the wilder games of the season, did you guys see what happened to the Braves-Reds game?
I was following along.
So it was a 3-3 game going into the 8th inning. It was an 11-11 game going into the 9th inning. Both teams
manager nightmare.
8 runs. So the Braves score 8 runs, and I had flipped it on MLB Network, and I'm going, well, obviously we're cheering for the Braves here because the Reds are one of the few teams still going for it in the National League and the closest pursuer to the Padres. So I'm going like, yes, all right, Braves, that's nice. You've taken care of business here, and you're going to cruise to an easy win. And then the Reds answer them immediately with 8 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning. I'm going, are you kidding me, Atlanta? You're going to blow an 8-run lead in the 8th inning, and you're going to lose this game. But they ended up going on and winning in the 10th inning, 12-11, getting the job done. So the Reds fell 3.5 games behind the Padres in the wild card race. They stat on the broadcast, it was just the 3rd time in MLB history that both teams had scored at least 8 runs in the same inning.
It's so nuts to come back like that and lose that game. Oh, and then to let those many runs in and then come back, and win that game. But yeah, it was a much needed victory for the Braves to help the Padres, Benny, and taking the Reds down a peg. That was insane.
Yeah, the Reds announcers were trying to frame it as a positive. Hey, well, I mean, they showed a lot of fight in coming back. I don't know how that is anything other than a giant gut punch for the Cincinnati Reds in their first game after the trade deadline going, we just totally let that. I mean, we had 8 runs in the 8th inning. We still lost that game. So anyway.
Cabrian Hayes hit a bomb, but also made a costly error as well.
Which is the opposite of what you expect from Cabrian Hayes.
Correct. The exact opposite of what you expect from him.
All right, we will get to the Reindl Report in just a couple of minutes, but right now it is time for a slightly delayed game of Take on Woods. Take on Woods is brought to you by Bay Alarms, security and fire alarms for every business. We got you. And David is our contestant. And David, good news, just for playing, we're going to hook you up with 2 tickets to Heart at Pechanga Arena on August 13th. Limited tickets remain at AXS.com. And you also get a chance to go for the grand prize. How you doing, David?
I'm good, guys. How you doing today?
We're doing pretty good. If you can beat or tie Woods in the 5-question musical trivia challenge, you will qualify for our grand prize. And I believe this is the last day. 2-night stay at the Park MGM Las Vegas. 2 tickets to Motley Crue on September 19th and a $100 gas card. Not too late. Get your own tickets for Motley Crue's residency at Dolby Live at Ticketmaster.com. All right, you get to pick our category today. Here are your choices, David. Not on any map. 5-song titles with fictional places in the title. The Eyes Have It. 5 bands that begin with the letter I. And our new category, Symphony of Destruction. It is 5-song titles and artists that begin with the letters D-E-S. So not on any map, The Eyes Have It, or Symphony of Destruction. What would you like to play, David?
Let's go Symphony of Destruction.
Symphony of Destruction. All right, not a Megadeth category. It is 5 song titles and artists that begin with D-E-S. You'll have 60 seconds to answer as many as you can. First questions are 2-second song. Paulie's going to play some music. You need to identify both the song title and the artist. One of them starts with D-E-S. To get that point, you can pass. If you don't know an answer, we'll come back to it if there's time left in your 60 seconds. David, are you ready to play?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. 60 seconds on the clock. The category Symphony of Destruction. Your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck, David. Let's take on Woods. Which American girl group was formed in 1990 by 3 women with the last names of Williams, Rowland, and Knowles?
Destiny's Child.
Correct. Why don't you come to your senses is the question asked by the Eagles in which 1972 soft rock ballad? Which 2016 Latin hit by Luis Fonsi received new life on the charts when a remix version featuring Justin Bieber came out 1 year later? Correct. Sting sings I Dream of Rain, in which 2000 solo hit that features additional vocals by Algerian Rai singer Cheb Mami. Let's go back to our 2-second song. We got two there. We got Destiny's Child and Despacito. You didn't get Desire by U2 and Desperado by the Eagles. And then tough one, last one. Desert Rose is the Sting song. Let's put Woods back on. Give him a text. He can return to his headset and return to the game. All right. We've got David's score locked in. Woods gets the same 5 questions without knowing what the category is. Let's put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on David.
That's Desire by U2.
It is. Which American girl group was formed in 1990 by 3 women with the last names of Williams, Rowland, and Knowles?
That is, oh my God. I'll come back to it.
Why don't you come to your senses is the question asked by the Eagles in which 1972 soft rock ballad?
Desperado.
Correct. Which 2016
Destiny's Child.
Correct. Which 2016 Latin hit by Luis Fonsi received new life on the charts when a remix version featuring Justin Bieber came out 1 year later?
Is it Despacito?
It is. Sting sings I Dream of Rain, in which 2000 solo hit that features additional vocals by Algerian Rai singer Cheb Mami?
Desperate Tank.
Desert Rose, but 4 is a win today for Woods. 4-2 in the category Symphony of Destruction. All DES songs and categories. And David, you can still enjoy those tickets to a heart, but we have wrapped up our qualifications for our grand prize trip to Las Vegas this month. Pretty solid month for Woodsy, if I remember correctly.
Not bad.
Yeah. I think so. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. A hot July and now into August. So it makes me feel good.
All right. We will come back. Paulie's got headlines in the Roundel Report. And if I know anything about Paul, I imagine we'll also once again hear AJ Preller lighting me up one more time before this week is over.
Yeah.
Am I safely assuming that is not going to just die quietly and I will never hear of it again?
There's a very good chance of that happening.
Figured as much. All right, we'll get to that coming up next with Ben and Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Hey players, things are about to get real here in San Diego. Introducing the all-new Hamul Casino Resort. With a 200-room hotel tower, exciting new eats and drinks, plenty of new places to play, and a luxe spa and salon. Hello, rooftop pool and deck. It's where players can play their hearts out and enjoy all the perks that come with it. It gets real this summer at the all-new Hamul Casino Resort, the players' place.
Hopefully, Padres players got a nice couple of days off. We talked about it on Wednesday, how they were going to get all the way from the end of the game on Wednesday, probably, into Friday afternoon. Mike Schilt going to give him a little late start time. But how can you not be following along with what A.J. Preller was doing all day yesterday as well, with quite a bit of excitement? I bet they're pretty fired up to get to the ballpark today, even after a nice little day and a half off that they had.
I'm guessing that was a long day for Mike Schilt as well, long night at least.
Yeah,
I mean, that was not a day off for him.
No. I would think Mike Schilt wants to at least get on the phone with every single new Padre.
Right.
Get touch base with them. They got travel plans to make him feel comfortable and welcome. So that was very much a work day, I would think, for Mike Schilt as he's welcoming new players. But for the rest of the guys, I bet they're pretty excited to get to the ballpark today, Woods.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And let's ask Schilty about what that looks like for a skipper next week when we talk to him. Because that's no day off. That is. I'd be surprised if he wasn't sitting up there most of the day anyway. We'll ask him about all that. I'm fascinated by stuff like that. I would do anything to be a part of one of those war rooms one day, just to sit in there, not say a word, sit in the back and watch. I bet it's so far out of the realm of what I imagine. But yeah, man, I mean, if you're a player today and you woke up and let's say you did check out yesterday. Let's say you completely checked out. I'm turning my phone off. I'm going to spend some time with my family. I'm going to go swimming in the pool, relax. You turn your phone on this morning, getting ready for game day, and you go, oh, okay, wow, all right. We just got all these new guys. What does that mean for me? Of course, you're going to think about that. And I guess Gwen and Chris are going to be talking to Gavin Sheets later in the day today. I think that's pretty interesting for a guy like Gavin Sheets, who really has been a revelation for our team this season. What does that mean for him? That's probably less playing time for Gavin Sheets. I wonder how he feels about it.
Well, it is less playing time, but it's probably more advantageous playing time. He's going to be put in situations where he's set up to succeed. Starts against right-handers, pinch hit at bats against right-handers in good spots where, he's probably more likely to do better things when he's not I got to start against another tough lefty today because we don't have anybody else in the lineup. So yeah, I'm sure it's kind of some mixed emotions, but he'll get some playing time and he'll be okay. It's Nick Pivetta on the mound tonight at 6:40, and then Matthew Liberatore, who the Padres. So it was one of those games where they sort of hit him up, but they couldn't score. I think it was 4 1/3, 6 hits, just 1 run though against Liberatore last week against the Cardinals. At 6:40, 5:40 Eco Water SoCal pregame show with Sammy Levitt. All right, we'll check traffic with one of our many fine traffic reporters who have cycled through this morning, and then Paulie will give us the headlines.
The four horsemen and women
of the traffic reports coming up, and then Rondo Report next year on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury.
Watch out for a crash. It's on the 5 on the northbound side at Balboa Avenue, exit 23B. Everything's off on the shoulder, but it is slowing you down just a bit. And then you have some repair work going on the eastbound side of 78 on the ramp to the 5. That ramp is shut down. And then we have that long-term construction on the 15 northbound between the 78 and North Century City Parkway. I'm Sue Aller with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Rindle Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Rindle Report with Paul Rindle.
Hi, Paul.
All right. 2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Rindle Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Happy Friday,
All right.
gentlemen. You know
Indeed.
what? It's just been so sportsy with all the trade talk over the last few days. I got nothing. I got some fun audio and I got some good stories, fun stories to talk about, just not sports because I don't really care anymore. I do want to start with some fun audio. We talked about it this morning. If you weren't with us during the open, very awkward, uncomfortable. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Embarrassing way to start the show this morning. It was not. That was not how we do it on Ben and Woods.
That's not us at our finest.
And if you missed it, or if you just wanted to hear it again, a couple hours after that awkward, embarrassing open, AJ Preller was on the air with us this morning here on 97.3 The Fan. And he had some thoughts for our man, Ben Higgins. I'm going to bring that for you guys right here.
Well, you know what's going to happen next, AJ. Everyone's happy today, but in a couple of weeks, you're going to go, yeah, can we get Ryan O'Hearn signed to an extension at this point? You know what? I won't make you get into that at this point. I'll just say.
Well, I never really listened to you guys, but on the way to basketball this morning, I listened to your opening. And,
it was terrible.
And Dan, you want to talk
sorry.
about half empty? Ben went full empty on us to start the show. That put me in a slump. I think. So yeah.
How do you think we felt?
You shot poorly this morning.
We celebrate
Paul
titles,
was
not
too
trade
pleased, I
deadlines,
could tell.
AJ. We
So,
celebrate championships, not trade deadlines.
I'm so embarrassed.
Awful.
And I can't believe it. I really can't believe it, AJ. Again, I apologize. I was excited. But yeah, it was like your mom walking in on you
this morning. I knew it.
Yeah, you knew it was. Sorry about that. I thought you did a great job personally, and most of the fan base did as well. But apparently, it wasn't enough
I
for old Ben
understand Ben's
Higgins.
point. We're ready to get on the field tonight. Go play. Let Schulte and the guys do their thing. But yeah, it was turning on the radio today. Yeah, and I was ready to get a little bit fired up, get amped up. 5:45, 6 in the morning. Yeah, and then Ben set the tone. So see what happens.
Oh my God.
Honestly,
I am speechless as well.
You know what?
I'm speechless.
I
as
am
well.
pretty high on actually all these moves, AJ. So
Totally.
I will say good job. And
Sounds like it.
And you already have legendary status, but you just cemented it on this show. I'm sure I'll never hear the end of this.
No, you won't, Ben. Oh my!
I don't know if that.
God.
Yeah, I mean that now rivals the Gimp mask for most embarrassing moments.
Yeah.
In Ben's personal history on this show.
That was one of my favorites, to be sure. And I'll never forget it. I will never forget it. Sounds like it is the quote of the year. The quote of the year.
Sounds like it.
All right, we'll
Sounds
move
like
on. I've got a story, a pretty funny story here of revenge. And we go to Ohio, where recently a woman named Tia McCreary, she went to buy a car at a Kia dealership last year. She bought a 2022 Kia K5 from the Taylor Kia dealership.
What a sensible sounding purchase, right?
Yeah.
2022 Kia.
Yeah, how about that? And she financed it through a lending company. She got pre-approved for her loan. And a month later, the company, the loan company, they decided that they actually didn't want to finalize the loan. So the dealership went out and repossessed her car while this woman was at work. Like, no heads up, like, hey, this fell through. We need to, figure out how to go around it or whatever. Like, they just said, oh, well, if there's no loan, there's no car. We're going to go take it. She did not think that was very cool. And so she wanted to get a little bit of revenge. She was looking into her legal options, and she saw that the car dealership failed to renew the registration of their business name, Taylor Kia of Lima. So this woman registered the car dealership under her own name. She then went and sent a cease and desist letter to the dealership telling them that they can't use the Taylor Kia name that they had been using because, it's now registered to her. They sued her.
Woman.
It's still being tied up in courts right now. And like the most significant ruling so far of this trial has gone in favor of her. Like, she's at least being a real pest to this dealership that came and took her car after something that was, as far as I can tell, completely out of her control. She was pre-approved, like she did everything she was supposed to do, and they
made her payments and stuff.
Yeah.
And, oh my gosh, good for her. Good for her.
Awesome. Never would have really thought to look at like the registered trademark for the dealership.
That is next level revenge. Like digging that deep to find out now where are their soft spots.
Right.
All right. A little lack of follow through on their business licensing. We can take advantage of that. And I mean, she's got the documentation. I'd imagine that'll hold up in court. They're going to have to change the dealership's name.
We're driving this week on Kauai. We've got a Kia Telluride, and it's been a very, very nice car.
When you go to Telluride, do you get a Kia Kauai when
we get a Kia Kauai when we go to Telluride? Exactly. The best part, though, is yesterday we got in the car. We were driving down to the hotel to meet my brother, and we got this weird alert. What is that? We're looking around, and apparently the driver's side front tire had lost some air pressure, and we're going, oh no, we're going to have a flat tire. I get out, look at it, doesn't seem flat. Now there's like one gas station within 15 miles here. So I told, this is the best part. And my wife did this to me. So we're sitting in the parking lot. I'm looking at the tire. We're about to call budget rental car. And my wife she looks at me and she goes, I told you to mind the roads. And I looked at her and I go, excuse, you're blaming me for this? And she goes, yeah, the other day you were driving and you hit those potholes. And I was like, it's one road. Like there's one road in and out. And it was the day of the tsunami. I just looked at her and I was like, you've lost your mind. So my fault that the tire lost air pressure. I did put air in it. I do know how to do that. And so far, so good. We'll check it this morning, but my fault. I told you to mind
You
the
bring
roads.
up a good point, though. And I went to Kauai long ago with my family. I was still a teenager. But if you've ever been to Hawaii, like Maui and Oahu are very different. Kauai is almost like backcountry Hawaii. It's very, very unpopulated and definitely a different vibe than some of the other islands.
Different vibe altogether, which is why I love it. My brother spent some time in Waikiki and said, he goes, you couldn't even move. It was like being in Manhattan, at rush hour. He said it was insane. And this is a much slower pace here, certainly. But yeah, when you need something, you're like, all right, well, we need to plan the afternoon to go get gasoline and, go to Target or Walmart or whatever. It was pretty amazing. And there she is in the chat saying it was your fault. It was not my fault. There's no fault. It's not flat. I didn't hit a pothole. I didn't. Well, I did hit a pothole, but I didn't race over it or
Pothole
anything.
shouldn't cause your tire to go flat. Now you could have run over like
One
a
would
screw
think.
or a nail, but you can't see those in the road. So I'm going to go and rule in Woods' favor on this one. You really can't do anything.
Thank you very
a flat
much.
tire just happens, and it's not generally the fault of the driver.
Way to
Yeah,
go,
we'll
Sir
check
Chafes
on it
a
this
lot.
morning. Yeah, Sir Chafes a lot strikes again. Chafe is much better today.
That's good.
Much better.
Good news there. And then finally, I need your help on this one, Woodsy, because this one I literally thought was a joke when I saw this story out of the world of rock and roll. One of my favorite bands of all time. I had two of my favorite bands, Foo Fighters and the 9 Inch Nails, the Foo Fighters. I literally thought this was a joke because I saw this yesterday on MLB trade deadline day, and I didn't think like the MLB trade deadline like moved the needle that much outside of the world of baseball. They announced a trade between the Foo Fighters and 9 Inch Nails. They have traded drummers, like just straight up swapped them.
Yes, that's exactly right. Josh Freese was.
I know guys travel from band to band, over the course of their career. I didn't.
Yeah, usually drummers, right? Like drummers,
right.
drummers. It's the whole joke of Spinal Tap that one of their drummers just spontaneously combusted. But it is pretty nuts, man. Josh Freese was fired from the Foo Fighters last May, and then on Wednesday he announced he has a new gig. He's back with Trent Reznor and 9 Inch Nails, and 9 Inch Nails drummer Elon Rubin, who's a really fantastic drummer. He's been with 9 Inch Nails for 16 years. Well, he obviously is going to go fill the spot vacated by Josh Freese and go drum for the Foo Fighters. I honestly have never heard anything like this.
Like I saw a graphic and everything. It looked like John Boy or MLB Network was reporting on a trade. And I was like, oh, that's funny. It's MLB trade deadline. I didn't think like the Rolling Stone was going to jump in on the MLB trade deadline jokes, but here they are. And I was like, wait, this is real.
Now, this has to be with their permission, right? There's not like a general manager of the band who can then just shuffle the lineup as they see fit, the way it works in baseball. So they both agreed to this trade, I'd imagine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and when I think, it's one of those things where, Freese gets kicked out and maybe Dave Grohl makes a call to Elon Rubin and says, hey, we're looking at you. And then Trent Reznor is like, well, we played with Freese before, so come on back. I mean, it's just wild. It is just a wild story in rock and roll, and kind of a cool one.
Yeah, agreed.
Are drummers interchangeable?
I mean, both great.
I mean, how different are drummers for different bands?
Different. I mean, and two really different styles of music too. So pretty cool if you're one of those guys. You lose a gig, you get a great gig, and
the styles of music are different. Again, you're the music guy, Woods. I'm asking a legitimate question, though. Right. The drumming, though, remains kind of, you've just got to stay on your beat of your drumming for your band, whatever your style of music is, right?
Yeah, you've done this bit before, and I think you angered a lot of drummers and general managers today, but it's a completely different scene. It's a completely different scene for these two bands, and but they're both really, really adept at what they do and great fits. I'm going to see 9 Inch Nails for the first time in September, and I'm friggin' excited, man. I'm really excited to see Josh Freese back there.
I'm not saying the drummers aren't very talented. I love hearing drummers. I'm saying if you eliminated the rest of the music and you just played the drums from different songs, would you be able to identify like the genre of music? Like that's drum from grunge music, this is drum from a different style, or would it pretty much sound the same if you eliminated all the other music along with the drums?
No, I think you're just thinking that they just do like a real simple, just keep time. These two bands have some pretty incredible fills and some pretty incredible rhythms and things that they need to be really, really good at. So it's not as simple as that.
Again, yes, I know they need to be really, really good. I just didn't know how different it was on different styles of music.
It's different.
It's different. All right. I trust you. I'm just, doing
I mean,
my
you do
curiosity
you do
thing.
radio. You do radio, right?
Right.
You just talking to a microphone. Could you go and do 4 hours on 91X?
No, but if you limited all the talking, you just played the bed music. Would I know the difference between a news station and a sports station and whatever? It would sound kind of the same, I would think, without the talking.
All right. Ben hates AJ Preller and drummers.
I tried to end the show on good vibes, and you guys are fighting again.
Like fighting again. It's crazy.
It's all right. All right.
I'm going back to the hotel.
Woods, I want to thank you for spending your vacation this week on the air with us. Have a good weekend though in Kauai and get some real relaxation in.
I'm going to try. It has not been easy to do so far. So I'm going to really try to shut it down.
Now, you're going to be off with us on Monday, right? You're not with us?
Yeah.
All right. Sleep in, for the love of God.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, well, you can check in if you want, but we'll let you sleep in a little bit, not get up at 2 in the
All right,
morning.
boys.
For
Love
a
you guys.
radio
Have
show.
a great.
All right, that's it for us.
Have a
Braden is coming up next. What a trade deadline. Tier 1s, you are awesome as always. Appreciate everybody who jumped in this week
What a
with
week.
us. Yeah, what a week it was. For Paulie, for Woods, I'm Ben. Have a great weekend from all of us here at San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.